Elijah Martin discovered 200 messages between his wife and another man, each one describing encounters in his own restaurant's wine cellar. The bile rising in his throat tasted like 15 years of marriage dissolving into battery acid. But when he opened the video on her phone and heard Harper moaning another man's name in their bed, Elijah didn't scream or cry or confront her. Instead, the executive chef began planning a 7-course meal that would destroy them both. Because revenge, like any perfect dish, requires patience, precision, and just the right amount of poison. This is the story of how one man transformed betrayal into the most dangerous recipe ever served. Before we begin, let me know where you're tuning in from down in the comments, and if you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next tale. Part 1. The Discovery. October 2016, 2:47 a.m. The phone buzzed against our nightstand like a trapped wasp, and I almost ignored it. Almost. But after 20 years in the restaurant business, you learn that calls at this hour mean either death or disaster. Harper stirred beside me, her auburn hair spilling across the pillow like spilled wine. Still asleep. Good. I reached for her phone. Mine was charging downstairs and the screen lit up my face in the darkness. New message from B. The photo loaded slowly, pixel by pixel, like watching a souffle collapse in reverse. First came skin, then curves that weren't Harper's. Then, Christ. My thumb moved on autopilot, scrolling up through their conversation. 217 messages. I counted them the way I count knife strokes when I'm filleting fish, precise, methodical, necessary. Can't wait to taste you again tomorrow. Elijah's at the supplier. Come to the wine cellar. You do things with your tongue that would make him cry. Each word cut deeper than my sharpest henkles. The bile rose in my throat, tasting like spoiled love and battery acid. Harper's side of the conversation was worse. She wrote things about me, about our marriage, about my obsession with the restaurant. She called me cold, distant, said I love my knives more than her. Maybe she was right. I found myself floating above the bed, watching my own body like I was breaking down a chicken joint by joint, bone by bone. This is what dissociation feels like, I thought. This is what dying feels like while you're still breathing. My finger found a video file dated 3 days ago. Our anniversary. I'd been at the restaurant prepping for the Times review. She'd said she was at Faith's. I pressed play. Harper's voice filled my earbuds, moaning a name that wasn't mine. In our bed, our sheets. The ones we'd bought together at that little shop in Vermont when we were still trying to save us. Bennett. Oh God, Bennett. The phone slipped from my hand, clattering on the hardwood. Harper jerked awake. Elijah? What's wrong? I looked at her face, that beautiful face I'd kissed 10,000 times, and saw a stranger wearing my wife's skin. Nothing, I said, my voice steady as my hands when I'm working the line. Just a nightmare. She reached for me, and I let her pull me down, let her nestle into my chest. Her hair smelled like someone else's cologne. Love you, she mumbled, already drifting back to sleep. The lie tasted worse than the bile. Flashback March 2015. The champagne cost more than most people's rent, but you don't celebrate your first Michelin star with Prosecco. Harper had transformed the main dining room into something from a magazine candlelight bouncing off crystal, white orchids on every table. The soft jazz she knew I loved even though I'd never admit it. You did it, baby, she whispered in my ear, her breath warm with wine. You actually did it. I was scanning the room, checking that every plate leaving the pass was perfect when he walked in. Bennett Rodriguez, the Bennett Rodriguez, food critic for the Times, maker and breaker of culinary dreams. He moved through my restaurant like he owned it, that silver fox confidence that made everyone turn and stare. You must be the genius behind tonight, he said, extending his hand. His grip was firm, practiced. Bennett Rodriguez. Elijah Martin, thank you for coming. Wouldn't miss it. His eyes drifted over my shoulder. And this stunning creature must be Harper, my wife said, stepping forward with that smile that had stopped my heart 8 years ago. Harper Davis Martin. I manage events for the restaurant. They shook hands, held it a beat too long. Davis Martin, Bennett repeated like he was tasting wine. You hyphenated. How modern. I'm a modern woman, Harper replied. Something in her voice I'd never heard before. The kitchen needed me. It always needed me, so I excused myself. From the pass, I watched them through the window. Harper laughed at something Bennett said, throwing her head back, exposing her throat. He leaned in, whispered something. Her cheeks flushed. Chef, the lamb's ready, Grant called out. I turned back to my station, to what I knew, to what made sense. Meat and heat and timing. I didn't see Bennett's hand brush Harper's waist, didn't see her lean into it. Later, during my speech about dedication and sacrifice and dreams coming true, I noticed Harper at our special table, the one where I'd proposed with Bennett beside her. The tablecloth was long, hiding everything below the waist. Harper's face was flushed, her breathing shallow. Bennett raised his glass to me, smiling like a man who'd already won. To Michelin stars, he called out. Everyone drank. Harper's hand trembled as she brought the glass to her lips. I should have known then. A chef worth his salt can spot when something's off in his kitchen. But I was drunk on success, blind to what was simmering right under my nose. Present October 2016. Naomi always arrived before dawn. That's what made her perfect for prep. She understood that real cooking happened in the darkness, before the customers, before the chaos. But at 4 a.m., she found me doing something she'd never seen before. I was destroying everything. Methodically, precisely, I poured a $40 bottle of truffle oil down the drain, slashed through dry-aged beef like it had personally betrayed me. $5,000 of ingredients, maybe more, transformed into garbage with the same knife skills that had earned me that star. Chef? I spun around. She stood in the doorway, her dark hair pulled back, those strange amber eyes that seemed to see too much. Naomi Wilson, 24 years old. Hired her as a dishwasher 6 months ago, but she had something, a palate that could identify emotions in food. You're early, I said. So are you. She stepped closer, nostrils flaring. And you're angry. Get out. The sauce. She moved to the stove where my mother's beurre blanc was curdling. May I? Before I could stop her, she dipped her pinky in, brought it to her lips. Her eyes closed. Betrayal, she whispered, with hints of murder. The knife slipped from my hand, clattering on the steel counter. How did you? My grandmother taught me. Said emotions change the chemistry of food. Anger makes things bitter. Sadness makes them flat. And betrayal. She tasted again. Betrayal tastes like copper pennies and regret. We stood there in the half-dark kitchen surrounded by my destruction. She was right. Every dish I'd made since seeing those messages tasted wrong, poisoned by knowledge. Your wife, Naomi said. Not a question. That's none of your... The trash, she interrupted, pointing to the bin. That's her. Underwear. Harper's La Perla. The red set I'd bought her for Valentine's. Now soaked in wine that looked like blood in the fluorescent light. Chef, what happened? I could have fired her. Should have. Instead, I heard myself saying, she's sleeping with someone else. In my restaurant. In my cellar. Naomi's face didn't change, but something shifted in those amber eyes. Then we make her eat it. What? My grandmother also said revenge is a dish best served with the perfect wine pairing. She smiled, and for the first time I noticed she was beautiful, not like Harper's obvious beauty. This was something hidden, dangerous. I can help. Why would you? She shrugged. Because you gave me a job when no one else would. Because I understand what it's like to be betrayed. And because... She moved closer, close enough that I could smell her shampoo, vanilla, and smoke. I've been watching you cook for 6 months. You're an artist. She's a fool. The kitchen timer went off, shrill in the silence. That's the bread, I said automatically. Let it burn, Naomi replied. Everything's different now anyway. She was right. Everything was different. Everything was ruined. Everything was possible. Present October 2016. Grant found me in my office at noon reading Bennett's latest review on my phone. The words blurred together: transcendent, revolutionary, 3 stars all for us, all written by the man who was destroying my marriage from the inside out. "You look like hell," Grant said, setting down coffee. My sous chef for 10 years, he knew my moods better than I did. "When did the Times review go live?" "This morning. Reservations are already backed up 3 months. He studied me. "You should be celebrating." I pulled up Harper's calendar on my computer. She kept everything synced. Thought I never checked. There it was, like a recipe for disaster. Every client meeting matched a Bennett Rodriguez review. Every late night with vendors preceded a glowing article about our restaurant. "Grant," I said slowly, "when did we start getting good press?" "About 18 months ago, right after that spring reopening." 18 months. I scrolled through Harper's photos, found the one from that night. Bennett in the background, hand on her lower back, her face turned up to his like a flower seeking sun. "I need you to do something for me," I said. "No questions." Grant had been with me since the beginning. Held my head when I puked after my first service. Held me back when that customer threw the soup. He'd earned my trust with blood and burns. "Name it. I need cameras, small ones, in the wine cellar, the office, the private dining room." His face didn't change. "When?" "Tonight, after service." "Done." He turned to leave, then stopped. "Elijah? Whatever's happening, whatever you're planning, be careful. Revenge in a kitchen is like flambe. Control the flame, or it consumes everything." After he left, I opened Bennett's latest review again. Read it properly this time. He'd described our wine selection as curated by someone who understands that wine, like love, should leave you breathless and slightly dizzy. Had Harper helped him write it? Fed him lines while she fed him? Other things? My phone buzzed. Harper. "Working late tonight. Don't wait up. Love you." I checked Bennett's Instagram. 10 minutes ago, he'd posted a photo of wine glasses, 2 of them. The caption: "Research for tomorrow's column." The glasses were ours. The table was in our cellar. I typed back, "Take your time. I'll be here." Then I called the security company Grant recommended. By tomorrow, I'd see everything. Every kiss, every touch, every moment of my destruction captured in high definition. Harper thought she was clever, thought I was too obsessed with cooking to notice. But she forgot I'd spent 20 years watching people eat. I knew the difference between hunger and craving, between satisfaction and ecstasy. And I knew my wife hadn't looked at me the way she looked at her phone in 2 years. The camera installation was scheduled for 2 a.m. In 12 hours, I'd have proof. In 13 hours, I'd begin teaching them both what it meant to betray a chef in his own kitchen. Flashback June 2015. I notice this chapter is from Harper's POV, but I'll maintain first-person consistency with the established narrative style. The security footage would later show everything, but that night, I was still blind. Still in my kitchen while my wife waited naked in Bennett Rodriguez's hotel room at the Four Seasons. I didn't know she'd been standing there for 20 minutes, second-guessing herself before he arrived. Didn't hear their conversation about me, about how I loved my knives more than her, how I treated the restaurant like a mistress. "He doesn't even see me anymore," she told him. "I'm just another reservation to manage." Bennett was rougher than me, she'd say later, made her feel desired instead of scheduled. When he pressed her against the window 20 floors up, she felt alive for the first time in years. They talked about my obsession with perfection, how I'd spend hours getting a sauce right but couldn't remember our anniversary. Bennett mentioned his connections, how he could help her career if she wanted to leave me. "I don't want to leave him," Harper said. "I just want to feel something." That's when Bennett started recording them. "Just for us," he promised. "Something to remember this by." I was at the restaurant teaching Leo how to properly brunoise carrots. My son, though I didn't know the truth about that, yet watched me with the same concentration I brought to everything. "Patience," I told him. "Every cut matters." 3 miles away, my wife was discovering what she'd been missing. Bennett knew things I didn't, did things I wouldn't. He made her feel like the only woman in the world, even though he was married too. She'd tell me later, during one of our fights, that she'd tried to stop it. that she'd gone there to end things. But Bennett had a way of making her feel necessary, essential, like a missing ingredient that completed the dish. The irony wasn't lost on me when I finally saw the footage. While I was teaching my son about precision and patience, my wife was learning about passion and abandon. She came home at 2 a.m. that night, slipping into bed beside me. I remember waking briefly, smelling something different, cologne that wasn't mine, sex that wasn't ours. "Where were you?" I mumbled. "Faith had a crisis. Bad breakup." I pulled her closer, already drifting back to sleep. "You're a good friend." She buried her face in my chest, and I thought she was seeking comfort. Later, I'd realized she was hiding her guilt. Or maybe she was memorizing my scent, comparing it to his. Present October 2016. Leo found the wedding album torn to pieces on a Sunday morning. I'd been surgical about it, removed every photo of Harper and me together, left only the ones with family, friends, the restaurant in the background. "Dad?" He stood in the doorway of my study, holding a handful of ruined photographs. "What happened?" My son had Harper's eyes, but my hands steady, careful, made for knives. 16 years old and already better in the kitchen than most of my line cooks. I looked at him and wondered whose DNA actually ran through his veins. "Spring cleaning," I said, taking the photos. "It's October. Sometimes you can't wait for the right season to clean house." He studied me with that intensity he'd inherited from someone. "Mom's been weird lately, jumpy, always on her phone. Your mother's busy with the restaurant expansion. And you installed cameras everywhere." Not a question. The boy noticed everything, like a good chef should. "Security upgrade. We've had some theft." Leo picked up a photo that had survived Harper in her dress, radiant, feeding me cake. We looked so young, so stupid, so sure that love could survive anything. "You guys were happy," he said. "Were," I agreed. That's the key word. I'd been teaching him all week about patience, about waiting for the perfect moment to add each ingredient. He'd watched me spend 3 hours on a single sauce, adjusting, tasting, perfecting. "In cooking and in life," I told him, "timing is everything. Rush, and you ruin the dish. Wait too long, and it's overdone. So when's the right time? You know it when you taste it." That night, Leo was in his room when Harper made her video call. But he heard her through the walls, heard her tell someone she needed them inside her tonight, heard his mother become someone he didn't recognize. He came to my study, face pale. "Dad." "I know," I said. "How long have you known?" 6 days. "What are you going to do?" I pulled up the security footage on my computer, showed him the empty wine cellar. In 30 minutes, it wouldn't be empty anymore. "I'm going to wait," I said, "and watch. And when the time is right, I'm going to serve them exactly what they deserve." Leo nodded slowly. "Can I help?" My son. Maybe not by blood, but by choice, by years of teaching and learning, burning and healing. "Set the table for dinner," I said. "Use the good china, the stuff we save for special occasions." "Why?" "Because tonight your mother's going to tell us she's working late, and we're going to smile and say we understand. And then we're going to practice making the perfect revenge. It's all about the preparation, son. The mise en place." He left to set the table. I turned back to the monitors, watched Harper arrive at the restaurant, watched Bennett follow 10 minutes later. In the kitchen, we teach that every dish tells a story. Tonight, my family would begin writing a new one. Present October 2016. By the time I had 47 encounters documented, I'd become an expert in my wife's affair. I knew Bennett preferred the left corner of the cellar where the Bordeaux aged. I knew Harper brought fresh lingerie in her gym bag every Tuesday. I knew they had a routine wine first, conversation about my failures, then sex that looked nothing like what we'd had in years. But tonight's footage was different. They were talking about my mother. "Elijah never recovered from her suicide," Harper said, adjusting her skirt. "He found her in the kitchen. She'd used his knife." Bennett poured more wine. "That explains a lot. He sees her everywhere, in every dish. It's why he's so obsessed with perfection. He thinks if he can get it right, somehow it'll bring her back." "And you've been living with that ghost for how long?" 16 years. They kissed then, and I had to look away. Not from the betrayal I was numb to that now, but from the casualness of it. They were discussing my deepest trauma like it was restaurant gossip. Naomi found me there at 3 a.m., surrounded by printed screenshots. Jesus, she whispered. How many times? 47, that I have proof of. She sat beside me, close enough that our shoulders touched. What's the plan? Psychological warfare through food. Meaning? I pulled out my notebook, showed her the menu I'd been developing. Each dish designed to cause specific reactions. Mild hallucinogens from certain mushrooms, compounds that induced paranoia, natural ingredients that, combined properly, would make Bennett question his sanity. That's dark. He filmed them together, in my cellar, using my wine as foreplay. I turned to her. I need your help. Your palate can detect things others can't. You'll know if the balance is off, if it's too obvious. What's in it for me? $10,000. She laughed, bitter as burnt coffee. I don't need money. Your mother's chemo says otherwise. Her face changed, those amber eyes going cold. You looked into me? I look into everyone who works in my kitchen. I know about the bills, the second mortgage, the experimental treatment insurance won't cover. So you're blackmailing me? I'm offering you a solution. Help me destroy them, and I'll help you save her. Naomi stood, paced to the window. In the reflection, I could see her calculating, weighing options like ingredients. I have conditions, she said finally. Name them. No permanent damage, no killing, and... She turned to face me. You teach me, really teach me, not just prep work. I want to learn everything you know. Done. And one more thing. She moved closer, studying my face. We're honest with each other. No lies, no games between us. I've had enough of that. Agreed. She held out her hand. I shook it, noting how her fingers were rough from work, honest from labor. Not soft like Harper's, not manicured for show. When do we start? She asked. I pulled up the reservation system. Bennett has a table tomorrow. Party of one Harper will join him after I'm supposedly at the supplier. What's on his menu? I smiled for the first time in a week. Something special. Something that'll make him question everything he tastes, sees, feels. The secret ingredient? Justice, with a side of madness. Naomi laughed, and it sounded like oil spattering in a hot pan, dangerous and beautiful. I like the way you think, Chef. On the monitor, Harper and Bennett were finishing in the cellar. They never looked at the cameras, never suspected they were being watched, cataloged, studied like a recipe I was about to perfect. Present October 2016. Teaching Naomi was like working with fire, dangerous, essential, hypnotic. Her hands moved with instinct rather than training, and when she tasted my mother's sauce, she moaned in a way that made my concentration slip. God, that's perfect, she breathed, eyes closed. I can taste the history in it. My hand was over hers, guiding the whisk. Slower. Feel the resistance change. Like this? Exactly like that. Harper chose that moment to walk in. We must have looked intimate, Naomi's back pressed against my chest, my hand covering hers, her soft sounds of appreciation filling the kitchen. Am I interrupting? We didn't jump apart. Guilty people jump apart. Training, I said simply. Naomi's learning mother's Beurre Blanc. Harper's eyes narrowed. She knew that recipe was sacred, something I'd never shared with anyone, not even her. How generous of you. Her voice could have frozen meat. Naomi, don't you have dishes to wash? Chef asked me to help with prep. I'm sure he did. Harper looked between us, and I saw her calculating, wondering if I was capable of what she was doing. Elijah, can we talk? Later. The sauce will break if we stop now. She left, heels clicking like a timer counting down. When she was gone, Naomi exhaled. She thinks we're sleeping together. Good. Is that part of the plan? I adjusted her grip on the whisk. The plan is to make them paranoid. Make them see betrayal everywhere, even where it doesn't exist. And where does it exist? The question hung between us like steam. I could feel her pulse through her wrist, quick as a hummingbird's heart. "Everywhere but here," I said finally. We finished the sauce in silence, but the air had changed. When she tasted the final product, her moan was quieter, more controlled, but her eyes, when she looked at me, those amber eyes, held something new. "I should tell you," she said, cleaning the whisk with her tongue in a way that wasn't remotely professional. "I'm pregnant." The whisk clattered to the floor. "What?" "My ex. Before I started here, I'm about 8 weeks." She touched her still flat stomach. "That's the real reason I need the money." "Does he know?" "He's gone. Married. Like yours is, even if she doesn't act like it." I retrieved the whisk, ran it under hot water. "Why tell me?" "You said honesty between us, and—" She moved closer. "I don't want you to think I'm trying to trap you with someone else's baby if this—" She gestured between us. "If whatever this is becomes something, this is business." "Is it?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. The security alert. Harper was heading to the wine cellar. "Showtime," I said. On the screen, we watched Harper prepare for Bennett fresh lipstick, hair adjustment, the deep breath of someone about to perform. "She's beautiful," Naomi observed. "Beauty is just presentation. Any chef can make a dish look good. It's what's underneath that matters." Bennett arrived 5 minutes later. They didn't waste time with wine tonight. Within minutes, clothes were scattered among the vintages. "I can't watch this," Naomi said, but didn't look away. "Then don't. But remember, they chose this. Every day for 18 months, they chose this." On the screen, Harper was doing things I didn't know she knew how to do. Bennett's face was ecstatic, triumphant. They looked like lovers in a movie, passionate and perfect. "They look happy," Naomi said quietly. "So does anyone when they're stealing something sweet, but eventually they have to pay the check." Harper's wedding ring caught the light as she gripped Bennett's shoulders. That ring I'd saved 6 months for, designed myself, inscribed with "Forever starts in the kitchen." "Tomorrow he eats my special menu," I said. "Tomorrow it begins." "And Harper?" "Harper gets to watch the man she loves lose his mind, just like I'm watching her lose her soul." Naomi took my hand, squeezed it. Her fingers were warm, real, honest. "You're not losing your soul?" she asked. "I lost that the day I found out. Now I'm just cooking with what's left." Harper's perspective present, maintaining narrative consistency while showing Harper's paranoia. The coffee tasted wrong that morning, metal and fear on my tongue, though Elijah had made it exactly how I liked it: 2 sugars, oat milk, cinnamon on top like always. He watched me drink it with those dark eyes that used to undress me, now seemed to be filleting me. "Sleep well?" he asked. "Like a baby." "Funny. You were tossing and turning all night." I had been, dreaming of cameras in the walls, eyes in the wine bottles. Bennett said I was being paranoid, but Bennett didn't know Elijah like I did. Didn't know how he could spend 14 hours perfecting a single dish, how he'd once redone an entire menu because one element felt off. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "I know what you did in the wine cellar." The coffee mug slipped, splashing across my silk blouse. "Shit." "Careful," Elijah said, handing me a towel. "That's your favorite shirt." It was. He'd bought it for me in Paris, our 10th anniversary, back when he still looked at me instead of through me. "I should change." "Red suits you better anyway," he said, "like wine." My hands shook as I left the kitchen. In our bedroom, when did I start thinking of it as our instead of mine? I found something that made my blood freeze. A camera, tiny, hidden in the smoke detector, but visible if you knew where to look. I stood there, shirt half off, calculating. If there was one, there were others. How long had they been there? What had he seen? Rage replaced fear. Fine. If Elijah wanted a show, I'd give him one. I looked directly at the camera, slowly finished undressing. Put on the red La Perla set Bennett loved. Then I held up my phone, started recording. "For whoever's watching," I said to both cameras, "enjoy the show." I texted Bennett, "Tonight, usual place. Wear the cologne I like." Then I dressed in my tightest dress, the one Elijah used to beg me to wear. Walked past him in the kitchen where he was teaching that girl Naomi how to cook. She was pretty in that underfed, desperate way, young, eager. "Working late again?" Elijah asked without looking up. "Client dinner." "Which client?" "Does it matter? You'll be here anyway." He finally looked at me. "I'm always here." "That's the problem," I said, and left. In the car, I called Bennett. "He knows. You're paranoid. There are cameras. So we'll be more careful. Or we could stop." Silence. Then, "Do you want to stop?" I thought about Elijah's hands, always smelling of garlic and thyme. Bennett's hands, soft and clean, that touched me like I was something to be savored, not just another task to complete. "No." "Then tonight, I'll make you forget all about him." But I couldn't forget. Even as Bennett did things that should have erased every other thought, I kept seeing Elijah's face when he'd handed me that towel, not angry, not hurt, satisfied, like a chef who'd just sent out a perfect dish. Present October 2016. The tasting menu for Bennett Rodriguez was my masterpiece of revenge. 7 courses, each designed to build on the last, creating a symphony of paranoia and hallucination that would seem like madness to everyone but him. "Table 7, I called to Grant. "Special menu." Bennett sat alone, waiting for Harper. She'd join him after the 3rd course. I knew their schedule better than they did. First course, oysters with champagne foam. The oysters were clean, but the foam contained trace amounts of compounds found in certain mushrooms. Not enough to cause real hallucinations, just enough to make colors seem brighter, sounds sharper. I watched from the pass as he ate them, closing his eyes in pleasure. "Magnificent," he told the server. Second course, beet carpaccio with goat cheese mousse. The beets were marinated in a reduction that included herbs known to cause mild anxiety. The goat cheese would coat his palate, making everything taste slightly off for the rest of the meal. By the 3rd course, seared foie gras with cherry gastrique, Bennett was fidgeting, checking his phone repeatedly, looking over his shoulder. Harper arrived as planned, sliding into the seat across from him. She wore the red dress, the one that used to drive me crazy. "You look flushed," she said. "It's warm in here." He loosened his tie. "The food is intense tonight." 4th course, duck confit with pomegranate reduction. The reduction contained ingredients that, when combined with alcohol, would cause mild visual distortions. Bennett had already finished half a bottle of our best Pinot. "Is the room moving?" he asked Harper. "Baby, you're scaring me." 5th course, venison with blackberry sauce. This was the dangerous one. The sauce contained perfectly legal ingredients that in this specific combination would trigger every paranoia receptor in his brain. I plated it myself, making sure the presentation was flawless. Naomi watched me work, her eyes wide. "That's evil," she whispered. "That's justice." Bennett cut into the venison. The meat was perfect pink in the center, crispy sear outside. He took a bite, chewed slowly, his pupils dilated. "Harper," he said slowly, "are people watching us?" "What?" No, of course not. But there were. Half the restaurant had noticed the famous food critic acting strangely. Phones were coming out. 6th course, chocolate souffle with passion fruit center. The chocolate would intensify everything he'd consumed before. The passion fruit would leave him with a metallic taste that would last for days. Bennett stood suddenly, knocking over his wine. "I need air." "Bennett!" He stumbled toward the bathroom. Harper followed. The entire restaurant was watching now. 7th course arrived at an empty table. Petit four with espresso. The perfect end to a meal he'd never finish. In the bathroom, Bennett was on his knees, Harper holding his head. Through the security camera, I watched him vomit, watched her panic, watched their perfect affair crumble into bile and fear. "Call an ambulance," he gasped. "What did you eat? What's happening?" "Elijah," he managed. "Elijah knows." Harper's face went white. She looked directly at the camera I knew she couldn't see. "You bastard," she mouthed. I smiled, plating desserts for other tables. Each one perfect, clean, honest. When the ambulance arrived, the entire restaurant saw Bennett Rodriguez, powerful food critic, carried out on a stretcher. Harper tried to follow, but his wife, his actual wife, arrived just then. "Riley?" Harper stepped back. "I'm his emergency contact." Riley said coldly. Who are you? I'm nobody. She was right. In that moment, she became nobody. Just another woman in a red dress, watching her lover leave with his wife. Grant appeared beside me. That was brutal. That was just the first course, I replied. The main dish is yet to come. Present October 2016. Grant found me in the walk-in freezer at midnight, sitting among the hanging meat like a predator planning the next kill. The cold helped me think clearly, numbed everything except purpose. We need to talk, he said, closing the door behind him. About? About what you did to Bennett. About what you're becoming. I'm becoming free. He sat beside me on a case of frozen ducks. I've known about Harper and Bennett for 4 months. The confession hung between us like frozen breath. What? Saw them in the cellar one night when I came back from my knife roll. Been watching them since. He pulled out his phone, showed me dozens of photos. Started documenting it in case you needed proof for divorce. Why didn't you tell me? Because you had to discover it yourself, had to feel it. Otherwise, you'd have forgiven her. He was right. I would have made excuses, blamed myself, tried harder. Finding it myself made it real, made it unforgivable. There's more, Grant continued. Bennett has other women, 3 that I know of. Harper's not special to him. She's just convenient. He showed me photos of Bennett with different women, all in compromising positions, all in restaurants he was about to review. He trades reviews for sex? More than that, Grant scrolled to a different folder. This is from last year, before Harper. The photo showed Bennett at a high school culinary competition, standing next to a young chef who looked familiar. That's Leo's school, I said slowly. That's Leo. Bennett's been watching him, going to his competitions, his games, has been for years. My blood turned to ice that had nothing to do with the freezer. Why? Look at the dates. Bennett started showing interest in Leo right around the time he would have turned 15. Same age Bennett was when he won his first cooking competition. You're suggesting. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm showing you a pattern. Bennett likes to collect protégés. Usually young, usually male, usually talented. I stood, paced the narrow space between shelves of meat. Harper doesn't know. Harper doesn't care. She's got her own agenda. Which is? Grant pulled up Harper's email. He'd been monitoring everything. She's been siphoning money from the restaurant. Small amounts, but consistent. 50 grand so far. For what? This. He showed me a lease agreement. She's opening her own event planning company. Using your contacts, your reputation, Bennett was going to be her first major client. Betrayal layered upon betrayal, like a perfectly constructed Napoleon that tasted of ash. Why are you showing me this now? Because tomorrow Bennett's wife is coming here. Riley Rodriguez wants to meet with you, and Elijah. Grant stood, faced me. She has information that will destroy him completely, but it might destroy you too. How? Bennett's been recording Harper, everything. And I mean everything. He has a website where he posts them. Private members only. Harper's his star performer. I actually laughed. The absurdity of it, the completeness of the humiliation. She's been pornography this whole time? Revenge pornography. That's highly illegal. Riley wants to work with you. Take him down properly. Legally, publicly. And Harper? Grant's expression was carved from ice. Harper made her choice. Now she lives with the consequences. I left the freezer, went to my office, poured whiskey that tasted like liquid fire. On my computer, 47 encounters played on loop. My wife performing for a man who saw her as content, not love. What about Leo? I asked. If Bennett's been watching him. That's why we destroy him now, before he can act on whatever sick fantasy he's nurturing. I thought about my son, not my son, sleeping safely at home. About the DNA test I'd ordered but hadn't had the courage to open. About 16 years of raising another man's child. Set the meeting with Riley, I said. Tomorrow, after service. And Harper? Harper gets to watch her lover fall. Then she gets to fall herself. Grant headed for the door, paused. Elijah, that girl Naomi, be careful. She's got her own agenda, too. Doesn't everyone? Yeah, he said. But hers might align with yours. and that's dangerous for different reasons. After he left, I opened the DNA test results that had been burning a hole in my desk drawer. 99.9% probability that Bennett Rodriguez was Leo's biological father. The whiskey glass shattered against the wall, amber liquid running down like tears I wouldn't cry. Tomorrow, I'd meet Riley Rodriguez. Tomorrow, we'd plan the complete destruction of the man who'd taken everything from me. Tonight, I sat in my office, watching my wife perform for strangers on the internet, and felt nothing but cold calculation. The first course had been served. Time to prepare the main dish. Present October 2016. The confrontation was supposed to be controlled. I'd rehearsed it like a recipe, measured words, precise timing, calculated for maximum impact. But Harper broke the rules. She always broke the rules. I found her in our bedroom at 3 a.m., printing emails, our emails. Years of correspondence spread across the bed like evidence of a life I no longer recognized. Going somewhere? I asked. She didn't jump, didn't even look up. Lawyers tomorrow. Figured I should be prepared. For whatever you're planning. She finally met my eyes. I know what you did to Bennett. The hospital called. They found compounds in his blood that shouldn't exist together. You poisoned him. I seasoned him. There's a difference. You're sick. I'm sick? I picked up one of the printed emails, read it aloud. Can't wait to taste you again. Elijah's at the supplier. That's sick, Harper. That's betrayal served at exactly body temperature. She stood, stepped toward me. No fear in her eyes, just exhaustion. You want to do this now? Fine, let's do this. I know about the website. That stopped her. What website? The one where Bennett posts videos of you, where strangers pay to watch you perform, where you're listed as cheating restaurant wife. Her face went white. That's not. He wouldn't. I pulled up the site on my phone, turned the screen toward her. There she was, in our wine cellar, doing things that would make a sommelier blush. Oh, God. She sank onto the bed. Oh, God, no. 57,000 views. Quite the audience. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. You didn't know he was filming? The cameras are visible in half the shots. She started to cry, but I was immune to her tears now. They were just another sauce, another reduction of emotions that meant nothing. I also know about the money you stole, I continued. The event planning company, the lease you signed last month. That money was mine, my commissions from events I brought in. Our prenup says otherwise. Fuck the prenup. She stood, rage replacing tears. 16 years, Elijah. 16 years of being second to your kitchen, your knives, your perfect fucking temperatures. Do you know what it's like to compete with a stove for your husband's attention? So you spread your legs for the first critic who praised your canapes? She slapped me, hard. The sound echoed like a gunshot in our bedroom. I fell in love, she said quietly. Something you wouldn't understand. You don't love anything you can't plate. I touched my cheek, felt the heat of her handprint. I loved you. You loved the idea of me, the perfect wife for the perfect chef. But you never saw me, Elijah. Never really saw me. I see you now, spreading for Bennett in my cellar, in our bed, in places that were supposed to be ours. And what about you and that girl? Don't think I haven't noticed how she looks at you, how you teach her things you never taught me. Naomi is young, beautiful, eager to please, everything I used to be before you froze me out. We stood there, two people who'd once promised forever, now calculating how to cause maximum damage. I want a divorce, she said. Good, but first, there's something you should know about Bennett. What? I pulled up the photos Grant had shown me. Bennett at Leo's competitions. Bennett watching our son, her son, with interest that had nothing to do with culinary talent. He's been stalking Leo for years. Harper looked at the photos, confusion shifting to horror. No, that's not. He wouldn't. He would. He has. And there's more. I showed her the other boys. Other young chefs Bennett had mentored, the lawsuits that had been settled quietly, the accusations that never made headlines. You're lying. Riley Rodriguez will be here tomorrow. She has all the proof you need. Your lover is a predator, Harper. And you brought him into our son's life. She was shaking now. Leo. Is Leo safe? For now. But Bennett's been escalating, getting bolder. We don't have to do anything. You made your choice. You chose him. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. You were too busy being desired to see what you were bringing into our home. Harper collapsed on the bed, sobbing. Real tears this time, not performance. There's one more thing, I said, pulling out the DNA test. About Leo. Don't. He's not mine, is he? He's Bennett's. The words hung between us like knives. Harper looked up, mascara streaming. I don't know. Yes, you do. The timing, the prenatal vitamins you hid, the sudden trip to your mother's when you were 3 months along. Elijah. Just tell me the truth. For once in 16 years, tell me the truth. She took a breath that seemed to last forever. The baby. Might not be yours. I laughed. Actually laughed. The absurdity of it. The completeness of my humiliation. But Leo, she continued quickly, Leo is yours in every way that matters. You raised him, taught him, loved him. Loved another man's son while that man was fucking my wife. It wasn't like that then. Bennett and I. We had one night years ago, before Leo. I was drunk. You were in Chicago at that food conference. It meant nothing. Nothing. Our entire marriage is built on nothing? I tried to forget, tried to make it work. But when he came back, when he walked into the restaurant that night, you couldn't resist. I couldn't resist feeling wanted again. I walked to the window, looked out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Bennett was probably seducing another wife, reviewing another restaurant, hunting another boy. Pack your things, I said quietly. Be gone by morning. Where will I go? I don't care. Maybe Bennett will take you in. Oh, wait, he's married, and in the hospital, and about to be arrested. Elijah, please, let me explain. Get out! The scream came from somewhere deep, somewhere I'd kept locked since finding my mother in her own blood. Harper flinched, gathered the printed emails like she was collecting the pieces of our marriage. I'm pregnant, she said from the doorway. 8 weeks. And this time I know it's Bennett's. She left before I could respond, left me standing in our bedroom, surrounded by the ghost of our marriage, the echo of her confession. I picked up our wedding photo, traced her face with my finger. Then I threw it against the wall, watched it shatter into pieces that could never be put back together. In the kitchen, they teach you that some dishes can't be saved. Once they're burnt, once they're broken, you have to throw them out and start over. Tomorrow I'd meet Riley Rodriguez. Tomorrow we'd destroy Bennett together. Tonight, I sat in the ruins of my marriage and planned the perfect menu for revenge. The main course was about to be served. Part 2, The Unraveling Present. October 2016. Leo's room at 3 a.m. was a shrine to innocence. I'd helped build culinary school brochures, knife collection I'd gifted him, photos from cooking competitions. I stood in his doorway watching him sleep, scissors in my hand, just a few hairs. That's all I needed. He stirred when I leaned over but didn't wake. His breathing stayed deep, trusting. The boy I'd raised, taught, loved sleeping peacefully while I stole pieces of him to confirm my worst fear. The hairs came free easily, 3 dark strands that might rewrite 16 years of my life. Back in my study, I sealed them in the envelope labeled Alleged Father. The other sample mine was already packaged. The lab promised results in 3 days, 72 hours to know if my son was my son. Harper was at Faith's apartment. I'd tracked her phone. Still my wife for now, still on my family plan. She'd taken 1 suitcase, left everything else, like she expected to come back. She wouldn't. What are you doing? I spun around. Naomi stood in the doorway, wearing one of the restaurant's t-shirts and nothing else. She'd been staying in the guest room since the incident with Harper. Couldn't sleep, I said. She moved closer, saw the FedEx envelope. Paternity test? How did you... The requisition form was on your desk. I wasn't snooping, just bringing you coffee earlier. She sat on the couch, tucked her legs under her. You think Leo isn't yours? Harper said as much, right before I threw her out. Harper says a lot of things. Doesn't make them true. Bennett's been watching Leo for years. Has photos going back to when he was 12. Naomi's face darkened. That's disturbing. That's Bennett. I poured whiskey, offered her one. She shook her head. I can't drink, she said quietly. The baby was pregnant, I mean. Before Harper pushed you. We don't know that for sure. The security footage shows you two arguing. Then you're at the bottom of the stairs. She touched her stomach absently. Doesn't matter now. We sat in silence, the weight of lost children, born and unborn, filling the space between us. I'm poisoning him again tomorrow, I said. Bennett, he's coming for the wine tasting. The hospital released him? Against medical advice. His ego won't let him miss it. Plus, Harper will be there. What's the plan? Mushroom risotto. Special mushrooms that interact badly with his medication. That could kill him. That could make him very sick. There's a difference. Naomi stood, walked to the window. The city lights reflected in her amber eyes. What if Leo really is Bennett's? Then I've been raising my enemy's child while he was screwing my wife. Or, she turned to face me, you've been being a father to a boy who needed one. Biology doesn't make family. Love does. You sound like a greeting card. I sound like someone who grew up without a father. She moved closer. Leo loves you, calls you dad, learned everything from you. That doesn't change because of DNA. Everything changes because of DNA. Does it? Or is that just another excuse to destroy everything? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Leo had posted on Instagram a photo from his room, clearly awake. The caption, "Found mom's diary. Some things you can't unread. Some truths hurt more than lies." I ran to his room. Empty. His window was open, fire escape ladder down. On his desk was Harper's diary, open to a page dated 16 years ago. The baby might be Bennett's. The timing. God, the timing. But Elijah wants this so much, wants to be a father. Maybe that's enough. Maybe love is enough. Maybe I can make this lie into truth. The next entry, different ink. Bennett makes me come in ways Elijah never could. It's not just the sex. It's feeling wanted, desired. Like I'm more than just the chef's wife. This was dated last week. Leo had read both. Read his mother's confession and her cruelty in one sitting. He's gone to find Bennett, Naomi said, reading over my shoulder. I grabbed my keys. I know where they'll be. How? Because Bennett's predictable. He'll be at the place this all started. The restaurant, our wine cellar. Where else would a predator take his prey but the scene of his first crime? Harper's perspective present. The motel room smelled like bleach and broken dreams. Bennett was on the bed, shaking from whatever Elijah had poisoned him with. His skin was gray, eyes bloodshot, but he still wanted me. Come here, he said, pulling me down. You're sick. We should wait. I need you. Need to forget what he did to me. His hands were rough, desperate. Not like the confident seduction I'd fallen for. This was something else, angry, possessive, like he was claiming territory Elijah had marked. Halfway through, his body seized. His eyes rolled back, foam at his mouth. Bennett! Bennett! He convulsed under me, over me, inside me. I rolled him onto his side, grabbed his phone to call 911, then stopped. On his screen was a text conversation with someone named Riley. The plan's working. Harper's completely dependent now. Once I break her marriage entirely, she'll do anything. Riley responded. Just like the others? Easier. She's got daddy issues Elijah never saw. I scrolled up, my hands shaking. There were photos. Dozens of women, all in restaurant bathrooms, wine cellars, kitchens, all wives of chefs or owners, all being filmed without knowing. Bennett's eyes opened, focused on me. Hey, baby, he slurred. You filmed us? What? I showed him his phone. His face went whiter than it already was. Harper, I can explain. Explain what? That I'm just another conquest? Another married woman to add to your collection? You're different, because I was stupid enough to fall for it? He tried to sit up, grab my wrist. You love me. I loved the idea of you. The way you made me feel. I do make you feel used. You make me feel used. His grip tightened. You can't leave. You have nowhere to go. Elijah won't take you back. He was right. I'd burned everything for this man who saw me as a notch on his bedpost. I'm pregnant, I said. So? So? That's all you have to say? Get rid of it, I'll pay. The casualness broke something in me. It's yours. Could be Elijah's. I haven't slept with Elijah in 3 months. Bennett laughed, ugly and sharp. Then you're an even bigger fool than I thought. I slapped him. He slapped me back, harder. You think you're special? He snarled. You're just another bored housewife who spread her legs for attention. At least the others were smart enough to know what it was. I left my marriage for you. I never asked you to. That was your stupidity. My phone rang. Elijah. Don't answer that, Bennett said. I answered anyway. What? Leo's missing. He might be heading to Bennett. Is he with you? I looked at Bennett, who was watching me with predator eyes. No, I said. Bennett's here, though. Keep him there. I'm coming. Elijah. Just keep him there, Harper. Whatever you do, don't let him leave. He's dangerous. I know, I said, looking at Bennett's phone, at all those women. I know exactly how dangerous he is. Bennett lunged for the phone. We struggled. He was stronger, sicker, more desperate. The phone flew across the room, shattered against the wall. You stupid bitch, he breathed in my face. You have no idea what you've done. I'm leaving. No, you're not. He pulled something from his bag, a camera, small, professional. Smile, he said. You're about to become a star, just like all the others. The red light blinked on. Naomi's perspective present. Elijah's hand shook as he taught me his mother's bouillabaisse at 3 a.m. The kitchen was dark except for the stove light, casting shadows that made him look older, sadder. She made this when I was scared, he said, stirring slowly. Said the smell would chase away bad dreams. Are you scared now? Terrified. Leo's been gone 3 hours. I touched his hand on the spoon. We'll find him. What if Bennett, he couldn't finish. Bennett's with Harper. You tracked her phone. Before it went dead. The sauce needed saffron. I reached across him for it, our bodies close in the small space. He smelled like fear and fennel. Why didn't she love you? I asked. Harper, you're brilliant, successful, devoted, cold, obsessed, married to my work. He laughed bitterly. She wasn't wrong. I love perfection more than connection. That's not true, isn't it? I spent our anniversary preparing for a review instead of being with her. She spent it filming herself with Bennett. He turned to face me, our faces inches apart. Why do you defend me? Because someone should. Because you're not the villain here, even if you're trying to be. I poisoned a man. Multiple times. A man who's stalking your son, who filmed your wife without consent, who destroys lives for sport. My wife who might not be my wife. My son who might not be my son. Your pain, that's definitely your pain. He looked at me then, really looked. You lost a baby because of my revenge. I lost a baby because Harper pushed me. You didn't push me. I created the situation. I kissed him. Soft, quick, pulling back before he could respond. Sorry, I said. I shouldn't have. He kissed me back, harder, desperate, like drowning, his hands in my hair, mine gripping his shirt. We knocked over the saffron, and the kitchen filled with golden dust. This is wrong, he breathed against my mouth. Everything's wrong. Maybe 2 wrongs make a right. That's not how math works. Good thing we're cooking, not calculating. He lifted me onto the counter, stepped between my legs. I could feel his heart racing through his shirt. I'm still married. To a woman who's with another man. I'm your boss. Then I quit. I'm broken. Me too. We stayed frozen like that, breathing hard, deciding. The bouillabaisse bubbled over, hissing on the stove. Shit! Elijah jumped back, turned off the heat. The spell broke. Reality crashed back, Leo missing, Harper in danger, Bennett out there somewhere. I should go, I said. Stay, please. He wasn't looking at me, focused on salvaging the sauce. I can't be alone right now. Okay. The kitchen door burst open. Harper stumbled in, dress torn, eye blackening. He has Leo, she gasped. Bennett has Leo. Elijah dropped the pot. It shattered, bouillabaisse spreading across the floor like blood. Where? The wine cellar. He said, if you want to see your son again, come alone. It's a trap. Of course it's a trap, Harper screamed. But it's Leo. Elijah grabbed his knife roll. Call the police. No, Harper blocked him. He'll hurt Leo if we do. He's not stable. The poisoning, it did something to his brain. Good. Elijah, please. Whatever you think of me, Leo's innocent. Is he? Elijah's voice was ice. Is he innocent, or is he Bennett's son coming home? Harper's face crumbled. How can you say that? Because you said it first. Leo isn't yours, remember? I was angry. I was lying. Were you? Or are you lying now? I stepped between them. Stop. This isn't helping Leo. Elijah looked at me, then at Harper, calculating. Fine. I'll go. Alone. He turned to me. If I'm not back in an hour, call everyone. Elijah. He kissed me again in front of Harper, deliberate, claiming. That's for luck, he said. Then he was gone, leaving Harper and me in a kitchen that smelled like saffron and disaster. He's going to kill Bennett, Harper said. Maybe, I agreed. Or maybe Bennett's going to kill him. You don't care? I care. But this was always going to end in blood. The only question was whose. Harper laughed, hollow. You're perfect for him. Both of you cold as fish. Rather cold than cruel. Rather frozen than false. She had no answer for that. Riley's perspective, present. Bennett's second phone was like opening Pandora's box, if Pandora collected sex tapes of married women. 43 videos, 79 photos. A spreadsheet. He kept a fucking spreadsheet rating each conquest by difficulty, performance, and blackmail potential. Harper Davis Martin scored 810 for difficulty, 910 for performance, 1010 for blackmail potential. The notes: husband is prominent chef. Videos worth minimum $50K if marketed correctly. Harper unaware of filming. Potential for ongoing exploitation. My husband. My brilliant, charming, successful husband. A predator in critics' clothing. I'd suspected affairs. You don't stay married to a narcissist for 10 years without knowing. But this was something else. I found the contact for Elijah Martin in Bennett's regular phone. Called from my car, parked outside the hospital where Bennett should have been but wasn't. Who is this? Riley Rodriguez, Bennett's wife. Silence. Then, what do you want? To destroy him, completely. Why call me? Because your wife is in video number 37. Because he's been stalking your son. Because you have resources I need. How do you know about Leo? I've been following Bennett for months. Private investigator, GPS tracker, the works. I pulled up the files. He's been to every one of Leo's competitions. Has photos going back 4 years. Jesus. There's more. He drugs them sometimes. The women, Rohypnol in their wine. Your wife wasn't drugged, but others were. You have proof? Videos, receipts, his own notes, enough to put him away for 20 years. Another silence. What do you want from me? A meeting. Tonight. Your restaurant. It's not safe. Bennett's with Harper at the Motel 6 on Route 9. I'm tracking his phone. How do you never mind? Midnight. Back entrance. Mr. Martin. There's something else. About Leo. What about him? Bennett had a paternity test done 3 years ago. He knows Leo is his son. The line went dead. I looked at the file labeled Leo Martin Biological Son. Inside were DNA results dated 2013. Photos of Leo that Bennett had annotated. My eyes, my hands, my legacy. And a will, updated last month, leaving everything to my biological son, Leo Martin Rodriguez. Bennett wasn't just stalking Leo. He was planning to claim him. I started the car, headed for the restaurant. If Elijah Martin wanted to destroy my husband, I'd hand him the weapons. But first, I had one more call to make. FBI tip line? I'd like to report a serial sexual predator. Present October 2016. Riley Rodriguez looked nothing like I'd imagined. Small, sharp, expensive like a knife you'd keep for special occasions. She sat across from me in my closed restaurant, spreading evidence like ingredients for revenge. This is everything, she said. Every woman, Every video, every crime. I picked up a photo Harper in our cellar, unaware of the camera. How long have you known? 6 months. Started investigating when I found lipstick that wasn't mine. And you stayed? To gather evidence. To make sure when I destroyed him, he stayed destroyed. She pulled out a folder. These are the bribes. Restaurants paying for good reviews. Bennett taking payment in cash and other currencies. Other currencies. Sex, drugs, access to teenage culinary students. My blood froze. Students. 3 that I can prove. All boys. All 16 to 18. All talented, vulnerable, seeking mentorship. Did he touch them? Probably. Rape them? Can't prove it. Yet. She showed me another file. But this might help. It was a conversation between Bennett and someone named Marcus, a 17-year-old culinary student who Bennett had been mentoring. I'm not comfortable with this, Mr. Rodriguez. You want that scholarship, don't you? Yes, but then stop acting like a child. This is how the industry works. Christ, I breathed. There's more. Bennett's been dosing his conquests with a cocktail that makes them suggestible, compliant. He documents everything, calls it his insurance policy. Harper? Never drugged. He wanted her conscious, wanting it, made the betrayal sweeter for him. I poured wine a Chateau d'Yquem I'd been saving. Seemed appropriate for planning destruction. What do you need from me? I asked. Your security footage. All of it. The restaurant communities trust they'll believe you over me. And, she hesitated, protection. From? Bennett. When he realizes I'm the one who exposed him, he'll come for me. He's sick. The poisoning, you poisoned him? She actually smiled. Good, but that won't stop him. Nothing stops Bennett when he wants something. What does he want? Leo. He's always wanted Leo. Harper was just the pathway. I stood, paced to the window. Leo's not answering his phone. Bennett has him. What? She pulled up her phone, showed me a GPS tracker. Bennett's at your wine cellar, has been for an hour. Leo's phone is in the same location. Fuck! I grabbed my knives. I have to wait. She pulled out a gun. He's armed, desperate, and probably psychotic from whatever you gave him. You carry a gun? For 6 months, I've been preparing to kill my husband if necessary. She checked the chamber. Tonight might be necessary. This is insane. This is justice. The system won't stop him, too rich, too connected. But we can. My phone buzzed. Video message from unknown number. It was Leo tied to a chair in my wine cellar. Bennett's voice off camera. Come alone or I teach your son what his real father does to pretty boys. Riley stood. We go together. He said alone. He's going to kill you both regardless. At least with me, you have a chance. She was right. Bennett had nothing left to lose. There's a service entrance to the cellar, I said. Through the old foundation. Good. I'll take that. You go through the main door, distract him. And then? She smiled, cold as winter steel. Then we serve him what he deserves, the last course of his miserable life. We left together, predator and prey united against a common enemy. In my pocket, my knife roll. In hers, a loaded Glock. Between us, enough rage to burn down the world. Leo's perspective. Present mom stood in my doorway, looking like she'd been crying for days. I kept reading her diary, each word cutting deeper than Dad's best knife. Bennett makes me feel alive. Elijah makes me feel like furniture. Leo, please, let me explain. Explain what? That you've been screwing my real father for 18 months? Or that you've been lying about it for 16 years? I didn't know for sure. Bullshit. I threw the diary at her. You knew. You've always known. She stepped into my room and I saw the bruise on her face. Did he hit you? It doesn't matter. He hit you. Something cold settled in my chest. Dad? Bennett. He's not my dad. Biologically. I don't give a fuck about biology. Dad taught me to cook. Dad came to my competitions. Dad sat up when I had nightmares. While Bennett watched from the shadows, Mom said quietly, He's been watching you for years, Leo. What? She showed me her phone, photos of me at competitions at school, at the park. Taken from a distance like some creeps collection. He's obsessed with you. Says you're his legacy. That's sick. That's Bennett. I stood, grabbed my recording equipment. I'm done with both of you. Where are you going? To confront him. To tell him to leave us alone. Leo, no, he's dangerous. So am I. I showed her the knife Dad gave me for my birthday. He taught me well. You're 16. Old enough to know my whole life is a lie. Old enough to handle the truth. She grabbed my arm. If you go to him, he'll hurt you. Like you hurt Dad? She slapped me. Hard. The sound echoed like a gunshot. We stood frozen, both shocked. She'd never hit me before. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. For hitting me? Or for everything else? Everything. All of it. I destroyed our family for nothing. Not nothing. For orgasms. Dad showed me the videos. Her face went white. What videos? The security footage. You and Bennett. In the cellar. Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, God. I pushed past her. I'm going to end this. Leo, please. I'm going to tell Bennett exactly what I think of him. Then I'm going to come home and help Dad destroy both of you. I left her crying in my room, texted Bennett from the stairs. I know you're fucking my mom. Meet me or I tell everyone. His response was immediate. Wine cellar. 1 hour. Come alone. Perfect. The scene of the crime. I grabbed my bike, headed for the restaurant. The knife felt heavy in my pocket, but right. Dad always said the right tool makes all the difference. Tonight, I'd find out if he was right about that, too. Present October 2016, the envelope felt like holding a loaded gun. Inside, the truth about Leo, about 16 years of love, lies, and wasted time. My hands shook as I tore it open. Probability of paternity, 0%. I read it again. Then again. Bennett Rodriguez. Probability of paternity, 99.97%. The office walls started closing in. 16 years. Every birthday, every Father's Day, every moment of pride, all built on Harper's lie. I destroyed the office methodically. Threw the computer through the window, shattered every award, every photo, every memory of the family that never existed. When I punched the mirror, the pain felt clean, honest. Blood ran down my arm, dripping onto the test results, making the truth red. Elijah? Naomi stood in the doorway, surveying the destruction. Don't, I said. She ignored me, walked through the broken glass in bare feet, took my bloody hand in hers. Let me see. It doesn't matter. It does. She led me to the bathroom, ran water over the cuts. Leo's not yours? Never was. Bullshit. You raised him. That makes him yours. That makes me a fool. She found the first aid kit, started cleaning the wounds. Her touch was gentle, professional. My dad left when I was 3. My stepdad came when I was 5. Guess which one I call on Father's Day? It's not the same, isn't it? She wrapped gauze around my hand. Bennett donated sperm. You donated time, love, knowledge. Who's the real father? The one whose DNA matches. If you believe that, you're stupider than Harper. I looked at her, really looked. Her amber eyes held something I hadn't seen in years, understanding without pity. Why do you care? Because you're a good man pretending to be a monster, because Leo needs you, even if he's not yours by blood. I poisoned Bennett. Good. I'm destroying Harper. She destroyed herself. I'm falling for you. She stopped rapping. What? You heard me. You're married, traumatized, your life's imploding. All true. Doesn't change what I feel. She finished the bandage, stepped back. I can't be your rebound. You're not. You're. I searched for words. You're the first honest thing in my life in years. I'm 24. I'm broken. We're both broken. She moved closer, between my legs where I sat on the counter. This is a terrible idea. The worst. Harper could walk in. Harper's at Faith's. Leo could come home. Leo's. I checked my phone. Shit. Leo's not answering. Naomi pulled out her phone. His Instagram shows him active 10 minutes ago. Where? No location, but she enlarged a photo. That's the restaurant in the background. Why would he Bennett? He's going to confront Bennett. I jumped up, grabbed my keys. The wound reopened, blood seeping through gauze. I'm coming with you, Naomi said. No, it's dangerous. Everything about you is dangerous. Hasn't stopped me yet. She was already putting on shoes, grabbing her jacket. If something happens to you, then it happens. But you're not facing this alone. We headed for the door just as Harper burst in, looking wild. Don't go, she screamed. It's a trap. What? Bennett has Leo in the wine cellar, he says. She was hyperventilating. He says he's going to show Leo what fathers really do to their sons. The words hit like ice water. All Bennett's photos of Leo, his obsession, his history with young men. Call the police, I told Naomi. No, Harper grabbed me. He'll hurt Leo if we do. He's completely psychotic now. The poisoning, it broke something in his brain. Good. Then he'll be easier to kill. I pushed past Harper, Naomi close behind. In my car, I pulled out my knife roll, checking each blade. You're going to kill him? Naomi asked. If he's touched Leo? Yes. And if he hasn't? Then I'll just hurt him, badly, permanently. She took my hand, the bandaged one. I'm with you. Whatever happens. Why? Because someone should be. Because you shouldn't have to save your son alone. He's not my son. He is. And you're about to prove it. We drove toward the restaurant, toward Bennett, toward whatever ending this story demanded. Behind us, Harper followed in her car, still in the dress she'd worn for Bennett. 3 broken people racing to save a boy who belonged to all and none of us. Harper's perspective. Present. The restaurant bathroom was too small for a confrontation, but Naomi had nowhere to run. Stay away from my family, I said. She was washing her hands, didn't even look up. What family? The one you destroyed, or the one where your son isn't your husband's? You little bitch. I'm a bitch? You fucked another man in your husband's restaurant, in his office, in his cellar. You let that man film you. You got pregnant with his baby. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. She turned to face me. You were bored, neglected, so you spread your legs for the first man who paid attention. It was more than that. Was it? Because from the videos, it looked like straight fucking. You watched them? Everyone watched them. Bennett posted them online. You're internet famous. Cheating chef's wife has 500,000 views. The room spun. No. Yes. Your son can see them. Your mother. Everyone. I grabbed the sink for support. Elijah knew? Elijah found out the same time as everyone else. When Riley posted them. Riley? Bennett's wife. You didn't know he was married? I felt sick. He said he was divorced. Naomi laughed. And you believed him? God, you're stupid. Shut up. Truth hurts? I said shut up. I pushed her, not hard, just enough to make my point. But she was standing wrong, weight shifted, and she stumbled backward toward the stairs. Time slowed. I reached for her, tried to grab her arm. Our fingers brushed. Then she was falling. The sound was terrible, meat hitting marble again and again. When she landed at the bottom, she wasn't moving. Oh, God, no. I ran down, knelt beside her. Blood pooled under her head between her legs. Naomi? Naomi! Her eyes fluttered open. The baby. What baby? My baby. I was 8 weeks. More blood, so much blood. I'll call an ambulance, already called. She held up her phone, 911 on the screen. Everything recorded. What? Our conversation, the push, all recorded. Sirens in the distance, getting closer. I didn't mean, yes, you did. She coughed, blood on her lips. Just like everything else. You meant it. The EMTs burst in, pushed me aside. I heard them talking head trauma, possible miscarriage, internal bleeding. As they loaded her onto the stretcher, she looked at me. He'll never forgive you now, she whispered. Never. She was right. I just pushed the one person Elijah was starting to care about down the stairs. Caused her to lose a baby. I'd become the monster I'd accused him of being. Bennett's perspective present. The boy looked so much like me at that age. Same dark eyes, same confident walk, same way of holding a knife. My son, my legacy, finally coming home. Hello, Leo. He stood in the wine cellar doorway, backlit like an angel. Stay away from my family. I am your family. Your real family. You're nothing to me. I'm your father. Elijah Martin is my father. Elijah Martin is a cuckold who raised another man's son. I stepped closer, noticed how he tensed. Good. Fear was appropriate. But you know that already, don't you? You've known for a while. How, the way you look at him, guilty, like you're betraying him by existing. Fuck you. Such language. Elijah didn't teach you that. Elijah taught me everything. Except the truth. I moved closer. He was beautiful. Harper's softness mixed with my intensity. The perfect combination. I've been watching you, I said. Every competition, every success, I'm so proud. That's sick. That's love. A father's love. You're not my father. DNA says otherwise. DNA doesn't mean shit. Doesn't it? I reached out, touched his face. He flinched but didn't pull away. You have my hands, my talent, my ambition. Don't touch me. I've wanted to touch you for years. His eyes widened. The knife appeared in his hand. Not like that, I said quickly. Not. I'm not that kind of monster. What kind are you? The kind who takes what he wants. And I want my son. I'm not yours. You are. And deep down, you know it. You feel it. That connection. I feel sick. That's the truth making you nauseous. Harper's lies sitting heavy in your stomach. Mom made mistakes. Mom spread her legs for me while your fake daddy played with his knives. Leo lunged. I was ready, caught his wrist, twisted. The knife clattered across the floor. You're faster than him, I said, holding him against me. Stronger, better, because you're mine. Let go. Never. I've waited 16 years for this. He smelled like Harper's shampoo and Elijah's kitchen. The combination was intoxicating. I could give you everything, I whispered. Real training, real connections, the career Elijah could never provide. I don't want Paris, Le Cordon Bleu. I'll pay for all of it. He stopped struggling. What? Did Elijah tell you about the scholarship? The one I arranged? You're lying. Check your email. I let him go, watched him pull out his phone. There it was, acceptance letter, full ride, my name as sponsor. This is real. All you have to do is acknowledge me, publicly, as your father. And if I don't? Then I destroy Elijah completely. The restaurant, his reputation, everything. You can't. I have videos of your mother, hundreds of them. I'll release them all. Make her famous for all the wrong reasons. You're evil. I'm practical. And I'm your father, whether you like it or not. I put my hand on his thigh, felt him tense. You look just like I did at your age, I said. Beautiful, perfect, full of potential. Stop. I could teach you things Elijah never could, about food, about power, about taking what you want. I want you to die. No, you don't. You want to understand why your mother chose me, why you feel drawn to me despite yourself. I don't. You do. I can see it. That darkness in you, the same darkness in me. Elijah doesn't have it. He's too rigid, controlled. But you and I leaned closer. He smelled like fear and fury. We're the same, Leo. And once you accept that, you'll be free. Present October 2016. I found Naomi at the bottom of the stairs, blood spreading like spilled wine. Her amber eyes were glazed, unfocused, but alive. Don't move, I said, kneeling beside her. Elijah, blood on her lips. The baby. What baby? Was pregnant. 8 weeks, not anymore. The blood between her legs told the story. Another innocent destroyed by this war between Harper and me. Harper pushed me, she whispered. I know. I saw the security footage. She wanted to protect her family. There is no family. Not anymore. The EMTs arrived, started working on her. I heard fragments, possible skull fracture, miscarriage, internal bleeding. Are you the father? One asked. Harper stood in the doorway, watching, waiting for my answer. Yes, I said. I'm the father. Harper's face crumbled. The EMT nodded, let me ride in the ambulance. Naomi gripped my hand. Why did you lie? Because you needed someone. Because Harper doesn't get to destroy you too. The baby wasn't yours. I know. Then why? Because love isn't about blood. It's about choice. And I choose you. She cried then, silent tears mixing with blood. At the hospital, they rushed her into surgery. I sat in the waiting room, still covered in her blood, and planned. Harper had pushed the one person who'd shown me kindness in years, had caused her to lose a baby, had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Grant arrived an hour later. Leo's with Bennett. I know. What's the plan? Complete destruction, both of them. Elijah. She pushed Naomi down the stairs, killed her baby. Bennett has Leo in the cellar doing God knows what. Grant pulled out his phone. The article about Bennett is ready. Just say when. Now. Post it now. And Harper? Harper gets to watch everything burn. Then she burns too. He hit send. Within minutes, the food world would know about Bennett Rodriguez, predator, blackmailer, criminal. There's something else, Grant said. Riley Rodriguez is here. She wants to help. Bennett's wife? Soon-to-be ex. She has evidence that'll bury him. Send her in. Riley entered like a general planning war. Mr. Martin, I'm sorry about your friend. She's more than a friend. I know. I've been watching. Just like I've been watching my husband destroy lives for years. And you did nothing? I gathered evidence. Waited for the right moment. This is it. She handed me a flash drive. Everything's on here. Videos, bribes, victims, including your wife. I don't care about Harper anymore. You should. She's pregnant. With Bennett's child. I know. What you don't know is that Bennett has a genetic condition, Huntington's disease. Any child has a 50% chance of inheriting it. Jesus. Harper doesn't know. Bennett never tells his conquests. He just spreads his poison and leaves. Why tell me? Because despite everything, that baby is innocent. And because Harper's about to lose everything else, she should at least know the truth about what's growing inside her. A nurse appeared. Mr. Martin, she's asking for you. I stood, turned to Riley. Destroy him, completely. Already started. Check the news. I did. Bennett's face was everywhere. Celebrity food critic exposed as serial predator. Good, I said. Now excuse me, I have someone to see. Naomi was awake, bandaged, broken, but breathing. Hey, she said. Hey, the baby's gone. I know, I'm sorry. It wasn't yours. Doesn't matter. It does to me. She touched my face. I don't want lies between us. Not like Harper and me. Yeah. No lies, I agreed. Just truth, however ugly. The truth is I'm falling for you. The truth is I've already fallen. The truth is this is insane. The truth is sanity is overrated. She smiled, winced from the pain. What happens now? Now I get Leo back. Deal with Bennett. Divorce Harper. Then we see if something beautiful can grow from all this ugliness. That's very poetic for a chef. You inspire poetry. I inspire bad decisions. The best kind. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Video attached. Bennett had Leo tied to a chair in my wine cellar. The same place he'd filmed Harper dozens of times. Come alone, Bennett's voice said, or I show your son what real fathers do. I stood. I have to go. Be careful. I'm done being careful. Now I'm being final. I kissed her. Soft. A promise of more if we survived this. Then I went to end this, once and for all. Grant's perspective present. The article went live at 8:47 p.m. By 9, it had 10,000 shares. By 9:15, Bennett Rodriguez was trending. Celebrity food critic exposed. Bennett Rodriguez's empire of exploitation. I'd written it carefully, surgically, the way Elijah taught me to break down meat. Each paragraph carved away another layer of Bennett's lies. The bribes came first. 14 restaurants, 60, $3,000. All documented with receipts Riley Rodriguez had provided. Then the affairs. No names, but enough details that anyone in the industry would know. The Times food editor called within minutes of publication. Is this real? She asked. Every word. We need proof. Check your email. The videos were the kill shot. Not the sexual ones, those were evidence for the police, but the ones of Bennett taking money, promising reviews, destroying competitors who wouldn't pay. My phone exploded with calls. Other journalists, victims, restaurants who'd been blackmailed. Then Harper called. You did this? She was sobbing. Elijah did this. I just wrote it down. You've destroyed him. He destroyed himself. I just documented it. What about me? I'm in those videos. You're unnamed, for now. What does that mean? It means if you disappear quietly, you stay anonymous. Fight Elijah on the divorce, and everyone knows you're the cheating wife in video 37. That's blackmail. That's justice. Something you wouldn't understand. She hung up. Elijah texted, "At hospital with Naomi." Harper pushed her downstairs, lost the baby. Jesus. Harper had graduated from adultery to assault. I pulled up the security footage from the restaurant, found the bathroom confrontation. Clear as day, Harper pushing Naomi backward. I saved it, added it to the evidence file. Riley Rodriguez arrived at 10. The FBI took him. Bennett? 20 minutes ago. They found the drugged women's videos, the ones where they couldn't consent. How many? 17. Christ. That's just the ones he kept. God knows how many he deleted. We sat in Elijah's office watching Bennett's life implode in real time. The Times fired him. His publisher canceled his book deal. His TV show was pulled. It's not enough, Riley said. It's a start. He has Leo. What? She showed me the tracker on her phone. Bennett's phone is at your wine cellar, so is Leo's. We have to tell Elijah. He knows. He's heading there now. Alone? That's what Bennett demanded. I stood. That's insane. Bennett's dangerous. Bennett's finished. He just doesn't know it yet. What did you do? She smiled, cold as Elijah's revenge. I called every victim I could find. Told them where he'd be, when. You're setting up a mob? I'm setting up justice, the kind the system won't provide. Someone could get hurt. Someone already has, multiple someones, Naomi, those boys, those women. My phone buzzed. Another text from Elijah. Going in. If something happens, take care of Leo. We have to help him, I said. We are. By destroying Bennett's escape routes. He has nowhere to run now. And Harper? Harper's about to learn she's pregnant with a diseased predator's baby. That's punishment enough. Diseased? Huntington's. Bennett's father died from it. 50-50 chance he passed it on. Does Harper know? She will. I sent her the medical records an hour ago. We watched the news together. Bennett's face on every channel, his crimes detailed, his victims coming forward. You know what's funny? Riley said. Nothing about this is funny. Bennett always said food critics had the power to destroy lives with words. She raised her wine. Turns out he was right. To destruction, I toasted. To the article that ended Bennett Rodriguez. We drank, watching his world burn, waiting for word from the cellar where everything would end. Present October 2016. Harper stood in the kitchen, watching the news on her phone. Her face was white, eyes hollow, looking at something beyond the screen. 500,000 views, she said, of me with him, doing things. You chose to do those things. I didn't choose to be filmed. To be posted online like porn. You chose Bennett. Everything else followed. She laughed, broken glass and bitter wine. You must be so happy. The perfect revenge. There's no such thing as perfect. Not in cooking, not in revenge. You destroyed me. You destroyed yourself. I just documented it. Her phone buzzed. She read the message, went even paler. Huntington's disease, she whispered. Bennett has Huntington's disease. I know. The baby. There's a 50% chance. I know. You knew and didn't tell me. Would it have mattered? Would it have stopped you from spreading your legs? She flew at me, nails out, screaming. I caught her wrists, held her back. I hate you. Good. Hate is honest. It's more than you gave me for 2 years. I gave you everything. You gave me lies. You gave me betrayal. You gave me another man's son to raise. Leo loves you. Leo isn't mine. The test confirmed it. She stopped struggling, sagged in my grip. Oh, God. Yeah, oh, God. He'll be devastated. He'll survive. He's strong, stronger than you. Elijah, please. Whatever you think of me, don't punish Leo. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just done pretending. What about the baby? This baby? Not my problem. It's your nephew or niece. If Leo is Bennett's, stop. Just stop. She pulled free, stepped back. Something shifted in her face. The desperation replaced by something else. Rage. You think you've won, she said quietly. Think you've destroyed me completely. Haven't I? No, because I know something you don't. What? Bennett has Leo, right now, in your precious wine cellar. I know. I'm heading there with what? Your knives? Your perfect mise-en-place? She pulled out her phone, showed me a video. He sent this an hour ago. Leo tied to a chair, Bennett's hand on his shoulder, both surrounded by bottles of wine and what looked like gasoline, Harper said. He soaked everything in gasoline, says if you come near he'll burn it all, Leo included. He wouldn't, he would. He's lost everything. His career, his reputation, his freedom. The FBI is looking for him. You're lying. Am I? Call Leo, see if he answers. I did. Straight to voicemail. If anything happens to him, you'll what? Destroy me more? Post more videos? Ruin me completely? She laughed. I'm already ruined, already destroyed, but Leo isn't. Not yet. What do you want? I want you to feel what I feel. Loss. Complete, devastating loss. Harper. But I also want Leo safe. He's the only good thing either of us ever did. So? So I'm going to save him, and you're going to watch from here, helpless, like I've been watching my life burn. She headed for the door. Harper, wait. No, this is my mess, my lover, my son. She turned back. And maybe if I save him, he'll forgive me, even if you never will. She left. I stood in the kitchen, surrounded by the tools of my trade, useless against a madman with gasoline and my son. Not my son, Bennett's son, but mine in every way that mattered. I grabbed my keys, my knives, and followed. Whatever Harper planned, she couldn't face Bennett alone. We'd started this together. We'd end it together, even if it ended in flames. My phone rang. Naomi. I saw the news, she said, about Bennett. He has Leo. I know. Grant told me. I have to go. I know, just come back, both of you. I'll try. Don't try. Do. I can't lose anyone else today. You won't. Promise? I promise. I lied. In cooking, you can control heat, timing, ingredients. In life, in revenge, control is just another illusion. But sometimes lies are all we have to offer the people we're learning to love. Part 3. The last course. Harper's perspective. Present. The hospital room smelled like bleach and broken promises. I'd been here 6 hours, bleeding out Bennett's baby while the news played his arrest on repeat. The nurse kept asking if someone was coming. No one was coming. Mrs. Martin? Do you need me to call anyone? It's Ms. Davis now. Or would be once the divorce went through. And no. Faith had blocked my number after the videos went viral. My mother said I was dead to her. Elijah wouldn't even acknowledge I existed. And Bennett was in federal custody, probably making a deal to save himself. The cramps came in waves, each one a reminder that my body was rejecting the last piece of evidence of my mistakes. 8 weeks. That's all this pregnancy had lasted. Same as my affair's public exposure. The father? The nurse pressed gently. Should we notify? The father is in jail for corruption, bribery, and possession of... I couldn't say it. He won't care. She left me alone after that. Alone with the beeping machines and the wet heat between my legs that meant the last of Bennett's child was leaving me. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Heard about the baby. Karma's a bitch. R. Riley, Bennett's wife, soon-to-be ex-wife. We were all exes now, discarded women in Bennett's wake. I texted back, I'm sorry. Too late for sorry. Enjoy the facility. I picked the worst one. She'd been the one to recommend the psychiatric hospital to Elijah. Of course she'd chosen somewhere horrible. Another revenge, served cold. The doctor came in, Indian woman with kind eyes. The miscarriage is complete. We'll keep you overnight for observation, then you'll be transferred to the psychiatric facility. I changed my mind. I don't want to go. Your husband, ex-husband. He has medical power of attorney. The commitment papers are signed. I laughed, tasted copper and consequences. Of course they are. That night, I lay in the dark listening to other people's emergencies through thin walls. Somewhere Elijah was probably teaching Naomi another recipe. Leo was doing homework. Life was moving on without me. The news had stopped showing Bennett's arrest. I was already old news, yesterday's scandal, the cheating restaurant wife who'd lost everything. My phone had 1 bar of battery left. I used it to look up the facility Riley had chosen. State-run, underfunded. 60% of patients attempted suicide within a year of release. The battery died as I was reading reviews. Fitting. A new nurse came in at dawn. Transfers here. I didn't fight, didn't cry. Just gathered my few things, a hospital gown, slippers, the wedding ring I couldn't bear to throw away, and followed her to the ambulance. The facility was 2 hours north, near nothing. Gray building that looked like a prison. Probably was, in all the ways that mattered. Davis? The intake nurse didn't look up. Room 247. Group therapy at 9, meds at noon, no phones, no visitors for the first week. My son, no visitors. They took my ring. Said it could be used for self-harm. Gave me scratchy gray scrubs and foam slippers. Led me to a room with bars on the windows and a roommate who talked to people who weren't there. This was my bottom. Rock bottom, with a side of antipsychotics I didn't need but would be forced to take. That night I prayed for the first time since childhood, not for forgiveness or redemption, just for Leo to eventually understand that I'd loved him, even when I'd been too broken to show it properly. The roommate started screaming at 3 a.m. No one came. This was my life now. This was what I'd earned. Leo's perspective present. Dad's hands didn't shake when he handed me the DNA results. Mine did. Probability of paternity, 99-97%. Bennett Rodriguez is your biological father. The words rearranged everything I thought I knew about myself. 16 years of being Elijah Martin's son, erased by a cotton swab and a lab in Jersey. Leo, don't! I stood, moved to the window. Outside, the city kept moving like my world hadn't just exploded. How long have you known? 3 days. And you're just telling me now? I needed time to figure out what to say. How about the truth? I turned to face him. Oh, wait. Nobody in this family knows how to do that. He flinched. Good. I wanted him to hurt like I was hurting. You're my son, he said quietly. Biology doesn't change that. Doesn't it? Every time you look at me now, you'll see him. The man who was screwing Mom. The man who... I couldn't say it. The predator who'd been watching me. I see you. The boy I taught to ride a bike, to julienne carrots, to taste the difference between saffron and turmeric. You taught Bennett's son those things. No. He stood, crossed to me. I taught my son. The DNA just tells us who provided sperm. I provided everything else. That's not how it works. That's exactly how it works. He pulled out his phone, showed me photos. Me at 5, covered in flour. At 8, crying over my first burnt sauce. At 12, getting my first knife set. At 14, working the line during summer break. That's my son in every picture, not his. I was crying now, angry tears that burned. Why didn't she tell you? She was scared, young, made a mistake. Fucking another man isn't a mistake. It's a choice. You're right, but you weren't a choice. You were a gift, even if you came from something ugly. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. You're mine, I'm coming for you. I showed Dad. His face went dark. He's in federal custody, Dad said. This is just him trying to scare us. Is it working? No, because he has no power anymore, and he'll never touch you. What if I'm like him? The fear I'd been holding finally spilled out. What if I inherited, you're nothing like him? Dad gripped my shoulders. You know how I know? Because I raised you. Every value, every skill, every piece of who you are came from me in this kitchen, not from him. But genetics. Genetics are ingredients. What matters is what you cook with them. We went to the backyard where Dad had set up a fire pit. He handed me a box photos of Bennett from Mom's things, articles about him, anything connecting us to him. Burn it, he said. This won't change the DNA. No, but it'll change how we move forward. I fed the photos to the fire one by one. Bennett at my competitions burn. Articles praising his reviews burn. A Father's Day card Mom had bought but never sent, signed, "From your son, burn." I choose you, I said, watching Bennett's face curl and blacken. You're my dad, the only one. And you're my son, the only one. We stood there until everything was ash. Then Dad taught me how to make his mother's sauce, the one he'd never shared with Mom, the one that tasted like family, real family, the kind you choose rather than the kind you're born into. Leo? Naomi appeared in the doorway. "Dinner's ready." We went inside together, Dad and I, leaving Bennett's ashes to scatter in the wind. At dinner, just the three of us, I realized this felt more like family than all the years with Mom pretending. Broken people choosing each other, cooking together, building something from nothing. My phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. "Blood is everything, you'll see." I deleted it without showing Dad. Bennett was wrong. Blood was just liquid. Love was everything, and I was loved. Despite everything, because of everything, I was loved by the man who'd chosen to be my father when biology said he didn't have to. That night, I changed my social media, my school records, everything I could. Leo Rodriguez didn't exist. Never had. Leo Martin, son of Elijah Martin, sous chef and survivor, that's who I was. That's who I chose to be. Naomi's perspective present. The oyster shucker felt right in my hand, familiar weight, perfect balance. Bennett didn't see it coming. He'd been waiting outside the hospital for 3 hours, watched me exit through the emergency room doors. I'd known he was there. You develop a sense for predators when you've been prey. "Hello, Maria." My real name. Of course he'd found it. "It's Naomi." "Is it?" "Immigration might disagree." He moved closer, blocking my path to the subway. 2 in the morning, no one around except a drunk guy sleeping on a bench. "What do you want?" "To talk about Elijah, about what you're doing to him." "I'm not doing anything." "You're fucking him, playing house, replacing Harper." "Harper replaced herself when she chose you." He smiled, the same smile that had charmed Harper, destroyed restaurants, ruined lives. "You think you're special? You're just the rebound, the help he's screwing to forget his wife." "Ex-wife." "Not yet. Divorce isn't final." He stepped closer, and I smelled bourbon and desperation. "I could help you, get you papers, real ones, money, a future." "In exchange for?" "Leave, tonight. Never come back." "No." I wasn't really asking. His hand went to my throat. Not squeezing yet, just resting there, a promise of violence. I'd been here before with my ex, with men who thought my illegal status made me disposable. "Elijah won't want you when he finds out the truth," Bennett whispered. "About your past, the men, the things you did to survive. He knows." "Does he? Does he know about the brothel in Queens? The things you let men do for $50? He did now. I told him everything after the hospital, expecting disgust. Found only understanding. "Let go," I said calmly. "Or what? You'll call the police? With what papers?" That's when I stabbed him. The oyster shucker went in smooth, just under his ribs, angled up. Not deep enough to kill, just enough to hurt, just enough to scar. He screamed, stumbled back, hand going to the spreading red on his designer shirt. "You bitch! You fucking Naomi!" Elijah appeared from nowhere. He'd been following, protecting without me knowing. He positioned himself between us, ready for violence. Bennett was on his knees now, blood seeping through his fingers. "She stabbed me." "I don't see anything," Elijah said calmly. "You must have fallen. Drunk, clumsy. I'll have her deported, arrested. You'll do nothing." Riley stepped out of the shadows, phone recording. "Or this video goes to your prosecutor. Attempted assault on a woman outside a hospital. Violation of your bail conditions." Bennett looked between us, realizing he'd been played. This was a setup. "This was justice," Riley said. "The restraining order says 500 feet from anyone connected to this case. You just violated it. On camera." Sirens in the distance, getting closer. Riley must have called them. "We should go," Elijah said, taking my hand. "The weapon." "What weapon?" I'd already wiped and pocketed the shucker. "He fell on something. Tragic." We left him there, bleeding and cursing, Riley standing guard until the cops arrived. 3 blocks away, Elijah pulled me into an alley, checked me over. "Are you okay?" "I've had worse." "That's not what I asked." "I'm okay, good even. He needed to bleed a little." "A little? You almost gutted him." "My grandmother taught me where to cut to hurt but not kill. Said it might come in handy with bad men." "Smart woman." "Dead woman, but yes, smart." He kissed me then, fierce and protective. I tasted fear and fury and something else, pride. You defended yourself, he said against my mouth. I defended us. Same thing now. We went home his home, our home now, and found Leo stress cooking at 3 a.m. Couldn't sleep, he explained. Kept thinking about things. Bennett's in custody, Elijah told him. Violated bail. Attacked Naomi. Is he dead? No, I said. But he'll have a scar to remember me by. Leo smiled, dark and satisfied. Good. We cooked together until dawn, 3 damaged people making something beautiful from simple ingredients. The news would call it assault. We called it survival. Bennett's blood was probably still on the sidewalk, but in our kitchen, everything was clean. Elijah's perspective present. The crucible glowed orange hot, 1,500 degrees of possibility. Harper's wedding ring, 14-karat gold, quarter-carat diamond inscribed with "Forever starts in the kitchen," sat in a ceramic dish, waiting for transformation. You sure about this? Grant asked, adjusting his safety goggles. It's just metal now. It was never just metal. He was right. It had been promise, commitment, lies, betrayal. Now it would be something useful. I poured the molten gold into the knife handle mold I'd commissioned. The diamond would go in the pommel, beautiful, hard, worthless for cutting, but perfect for balance. That's twisted, Grant observed, making a knife from her ring. It's practical. Gold's antimicrobial. The handle will never harbor bacteria. That's not why you're doing it. No. But it sounds better than, I want to cut things with the symbol of my dead marriage. The lawyer had sent the divorce papers that morning, uncontested. Harper had signed from the psychiatric facility, probably with a crayon given their restrictions. She got nothing she'd stolen enough already. How is she? Grant asked, like he could read my mind. Alive. Committed for 90 days minimum. And after? Not my problem. But it would be. Harper would always be my problem. The mother of my son, not my son, the ghost in every corner of the restaurant. Restaurants booked solid for 3 months, Grant said, changing subjects. Scandal's been good for business. Blood always sells. Speaking of blood, Bennett's pressing charges against Naomi. Let him try. No witnesses, no weapon, just a drunk predator who fell on something sharp. Riley's video shows him attacking her. Self-defense. The gold was cooling now, taking the shape of something new. I'd add the steel blade tomorrow Damascus pattern, folded 500 times. Beautiful, deadly, honest. My phone rang. The facility. Mr. Martin? Your wife, ex-wife. She attempted suicide last night. Pills. She's stable, but what? She's asking for you. No. Mr. Martin, she needs... I hung up. Harper had made her choices. I'd made mine. Who was that? Naomi appeared, flower in her hair from the morning prep. Nobody. She studied me, those amber eyes seeing everything. Harper? The facility. She took pills. Is she alive? Are you going? No? She nodded, understanding. The ring? I showed her the cooling gold, already taking the shape of a handle. By tomorrow, it'll be a boning knife. That's either poetic or psychotic. Both, like all the best things. Riley arrived at noon with papers. Bennett's in the hospital. Infection from the accident. He's dropping the charges. Good. He's also been denied bail. The video was enough. He'll be in custody until trial. Better. He's looking at 15 to 20 years. Best. She studied the knife in progress. Is that Harper's ring? Yes. Jesus, Elijah, that's dark even for you. It's transformation. Taking something toxic and making it useful. Speaking of transformation. She pulled out more papers. I'm buying Harper's shares in the restaurant, offering her a clean exit. She won't sell. She will. She needs money for when she gets out. This is her only asset. How much? 50,000. Below market, but more than she deserves. I signed where she indicated. Another tie severed. I'm leaving for Italy tomorrow, Riley said. This is goodbye. Thank you for everything. We both got what we wanted. Bennett destroyed. Harper broken. Justice served at exactly the right temperature. After she left, I finished the knife handle. Added the diamond to the pommel, where it caught light like tears. Tomorrow I'd attach the blade, sharpen it to surgical precision. Leo came in as I was cleaning up. Is that Mom's ring? Was. And now? Now it's a tool. Something useful instead of something false. He picked up the handle, tested the weight. It's beautiful. Beautiful things can still cut you. Like Mom? Like anyone if you're not careful. That night I gave Naomi the first knife made from Harper's ring. She understood the gesture: trust, partnership, the future we were building from the ruins of the past. I'll treasure it, she said. Don't treasure it. Use it. That's what it's for. She kissed me with the knife still in her hand, careful of the blade even in passion. That's what I loved about her. She knew how to handle dangerous things. Naomi's perspective. Present. My first night as head chef, I created a menu that told our story. Each dish was a chapter, each flavor a feeling, each plate a promise that we'd survived. This is insane, Grant said, reading my preparations. This is honest. The amuse-bouche, oyster with champagne foam, but the foam contained hints of copper, the taste of blood and betrayal. The same combination Elijah had used on Bennett, but refined, controlled, safe. First course, beet carpaccio so thin you could see through it like lies finally exposed. Goat cheese mousse to coat the palate, preparing for truth. You're serving his revenge menu? I'm serving our survival menu. Elijah watched from the pass, letting me lead. This was my kitchen now, too, our partnership sealed in more than sex or circumstance. We were building something. Behind! Leo called, carrying hot plates. He'd adapted quickly to the new dynamic me as chef, not just the woman sleeping in his father's bed. The critics would come tomorrow. Tonight was soft opening friends, family, the people who'd stood by us through the scandal. 40 covers, each one perfectly plated. Second course, duck confit with pomegranate reduction. The pomegranate seeds looked like drops of blood but tasted sweet. Sometimes pain could become something beautiful. Table 6 wants to meet the chef, a server said. Tell them she's busy, Elijah answered for me. No. I wiped my hands. I'll go. I walked into the dining room, my dining room now, and found faces I recognized from the news. Food bloggers, Instagram influencers, here for the scandal, staying for the food. The meal is extraordinary, one said. That oyster foam tastes like revenge, I finished. It should. It's made from the same recipe that destroyed Bennett Rodriguez. They looked shocked. Good. No more hiding, no more pretending. Every dish tonight comes from our pain, I continued, but transformed into something nourishing. That's what cooking is, taking raw ingredients and making them better through heat and pressure. Are you saying? I'm saying trauma is just another ingredient. You can let it poison you, or you can cook with it. I returned to the kitchen to find Harper standing in the alley entrance. She looked hollow, weight lost, eyes empty, hospital bracelet still on her wrist. I walked out, she said. AMA, against medical advice. You need to leave, Elijah said, moving between us. I needed to see. She looked around the kitchen she'd once called hers. What you built from what I broke. Harper, the menu is brilliant, Naomi. I can smell the story in it. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm here to warn you. She pulled out her phone, showed us a message. Bennett's out. That's impossible. His lawyer got him released. Medical emergency, judge's sympathy, who knows? But he's out, and he's coming. Through the kitchen window, I saw him. Bennett Rodriguez, surgical scar visible on his neck, standing across the street, watching, waiting. Call the police, Elijah said. With what proof? Harper laughed bitterly. He's on a public street. The restraining order is 500 feet. He's at 5 O'Hone. We all stood there watching him watch us. Then I did something unexpected. I plated the third-course venison with blackberry sauce, the one that had broken his mind, and walked outside. Naomi, no. But I was already crossing the street. Bennett smiled as I approached. Brave little illegal. Try it. I held out the plate. Poison me again? Transform you. One bite. He looked at the plate, at me, at the restaurant where his life had ended. Then he took the fork, cut a piece of venison, and ate. His eyes widened. Not from poison I'd changed the recipe, but from perfection. It was the best dish I'd ever made, born from understanding that revenge was just another flavor to balance. "How?" he whispered. "I took your destruction and made it delicious. That's what chefs do." "I could ruin you. One call to ice." "You could, but you won't, because you're already ruined. This is just you haunting your old life." I left the plate on a car hood and walked back to my kitchen, my family, my future. Bennett stood there with the fork in his hand, tasting his own obsolescence. Inside, Harper was gone. She'd left a note. "The food is perfect. Take care of them. H." We finished service without discussing it. 40 perfect covers, each one a small victory. The critics would rave tomorrow. The reservations would pour in. We'd rebuild on the ashes of what burned. That night, Elijah and I made love in the apartment above the restaurant, windows open so we could hear the city. Somewhere out there, Bennett was tasting that venison and understanding he'd lost. Harper was walking the streets or checking back into the hospital. Riley was on a plane to Italy. But here, in our bed that had never been theirs, we were writing new recipes for the life we were cooking together. "I love you," I said, surprising myself with the truth of it. "I love you too," he replied. "Both of you." I touched my stomach, where the new life was growing. Not the rape baby I'd lost, but Elijah's child. Our child. Conceived in the kitchen during a particularly intense sauce lesson. "How did you know?" "You taste different. Sweeter. Like Harper did when she was pregnant with Leo." "Are you scared?" "Terrified. But the best dishes come from taking risks." Outside, sirens wailed through the night. Someone else's emergency. In here, we were safe, successful, and despite everything, happy. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight, we'd earned this peace. Harper's perspective present. The gun felt heavier than I'd expected. Pawn shop special, probably wouldn't even fire. But Elijah didn't know that. I'd waited until service ended, watched the last customer leave, the staff go home. Only Elijah and Naomi remained, cleaning the kitchen like it was their meditation. "Hello, husband." They turned together, moved apart. Smart. Harder to shoot two separate targets. "Harper." Elijah's voice was calm, always so fucking calm. "Put the gun down." "No." "What do you want?" "My life back." "That's gone." "Then maybe yours should be too." I wasn't really going to shoot him. Probably. Maybe. The psychiatric drugs were wearing off and everything felt sharp and possible. "I know the truth," I said, "about that first night with Bennett. We all know. You chose to sleep with him. He raped me." The word hung in the kitchen like burnt oil. Elijah's face didn't change, but Naomi's did. "You were drunk," I continued, "at that wine tasting, the one you missed because of the supplier emergency. Bennett kept filling my glass, kept touching me. I said no. He didn't listen. You went back to him for 18 months. Because he had video from that night, said he'd release it if I didn't keep seeing him. You're lying." "Am I?" "Ask yourself why a woman would risk everything for mediocre sex with a soft-bellied critic." "Because you were bored, lonely, selfish. Because I was trapped." The gun shook in my hand. "He threatened Leo, said he'd hurt him if I stopped." "So you brought a predator near our son to protect him?" "I brought a predator near to control him, keep him satisfied so he'd leave Leo alone. That's insane." "That's motherhood." Naomi stepped forward. "Harper." I swung the gun toward her. "Don't. You don't get to play peacemaker. You're fucking my husband in my restaurant. Ex-husband, and it's my restaurant now. Because you stole it. Because you threw it away." The gun was getting heavier. My arm ached. This wasn't how I'd planned it. "I was protecting Leo," I said desperately. "Everything I did." "Everything you did was for you," Elijah interrupted. "The affairs, the theft, the lies. The first time was rape. After that I was trying to manage him, keep him from escalating. By fucking him in our bed? By giving him what he wanted so he wouldn't take what he really wanted, our son. He's not our son. He's Bennett's." That hurt more than any physical blow could. I didn't know that. Not for sure. Not until I told you. I suspected, but I hoped. God, I hoped so hard he was yours. Hope doesn't change DNA. No, but love does. You love Leo despite his biology. I love Leo because of who he is, not who made him. Then love me, because of who I was before Bennett broke me. You were already broken. Bennett just revealed it. The truth of it made me sob. The gun wavered, dropped slightly. I'm pregnant, Naomi said suddenly. The words hit like cold water. What? 8 weeks. Elijah's. We're having a baby. You replaced me. Nobody replaced you. You vacated the position. I laughed, high and hysterical. Vacated. Like I was a job instead of a wife. You were both. You quit both. I was fired. You were caught stealing. There's a difference. The gun was pointing at the floor now. I was too tired to hold it up. I could kill you both, I said without conviction. Murder-suicide, very trendy. You could, Elijah agreed, but you won't. Why not? Because Leo needs to know his mother chose to live, even broken, even alone. I am alone. You're free. There's a difference. Free to be homeless, jobless, hopeless, free to rebuild, without lies this time. I set the gun on the prep counter. It made a hollow sound unloaded. I'd sold the bullets for bus fare. It wasn't supposed to end like this, I whispered. No, it was supposed to end with you leaving Bennett and us working through the pain. But you chose to keep lying. I chose to protect, you chose Bennett. Every day for 18 months, you chose him. Naomi picked up the gun, checked it. Empty. Like me, I agreed. Harper, Elijah said. And for the first time in months, I heard something other than hatred in his voice. Get help. Real help. Not for me, not for Leo, but for yourself. With what money? He pulled out an envelope. Riley bought your shares. 50,000, enough to start over. Blood money. Clean money, the only clean thing left. I took the envelope, felt its weight. $50,000 for 16 years of marriage, a son, a life. That's it then? That's it. I looked around the kitchen one last time, saw the knife made from my wedding ring, the menu Naomi had created from our ashes, the life they were building on our graves. Be happy, I said, meaning it. Be better than we were. We will, Naomi said softly. We are. I left through the same door I'd entered 16 years ago, young and stupid and full of hope. Now I was older, broken, but maybe wiser. The money would get me to California. I had a cousin there who didn't watch the news. I could disappear, become someone new, someone who'd never loved Elijah Martin or been destroyed by Bennett Rodriguez. As I walked away, I heard them lock the door behind me, the sound of endings, the sound of beginnings, the sound of freedom, even if it felt like falling. Elijah's perspective present. The gun went off at 11:47 p.m. I know because the kitchen clock stopped, like time itself froze at the sound. But it wasn't Harper's empty gun. It was Leo's. My son, not my son. My son stood in the doorway with my father's hunting rifle, smoke still rising from the barrel. Harper was on the ground, blood spreading from her shoulder. Leo, what did you do? Protected you. His voice was steady, adult. She came back, with another gun, a loaded one. He was right. Next to Harper's hand was a second pistol, this one real, this one ready. She'd played us with the empty gun, then pulled the real threat. Call 911, I told Naomi, already pressing kitchen towels to Harper's shoulder. No, Harper gasped. Let me bleed. Shut up. I meant it. I was going to kill her. Kill the baby. I know. How? Because I know you. Even broken, I know you. The blood was slowing. Flesh wound through and through. Leo had aimed to stop, not kill. Good boy. My boy. Why? I asked him. She was going to shoot Naomi. I saw her finger moving on the trigger. You could have, what, talked her down? She was past talking, Dad. He was right. Harper's eyes had that look, the nothing left to lose glaze of someone ready to end everything. Sirens approached. Naomi had called despite Harper's protest. Tell them I attacked you, Harper whispered. Tell them I'm crazy. You are crazy. Then it won't be a lie. The EMTs burst in, followed by cops. They saw the scene: blood, guns, Leo still holding the rifle. "He saved us," I said quickly. "She attacked us. He defended us." "That true, ma'am?" the cop asked Harper. She looked at Leo, at me, at the life she'd destroyed and the people who'd survived her. "Yes," she said. "I came to kill them. The boy saved them." They took her on a stretcher, cuffed to the rails. Attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, violation of a restraining order. She'd go away for years this time. "Leo," the detective said, "we need to ask you some questions." "He's 16, I said. "I want a lawyer present." "It's okay, Dad." Leo handed over the rifle. "I did what I had to do." They questioned him for an hour. His story never changed, heard commotion, saw Harper with a gun, acted to protect. The security footage backed him up, showing Harper pulling the second gun, aiming at Naomi's stomach, at the baby. "Clear self-defense," the detective finally said. "Defense of others, actually. Kid's a hero." After they left, we sat in the kitchen, me, Naomi, and Leo. The blood had been cleaned, but the stain remained pink against the tile. "I could have killed her," Leo said quietly. "But you didn't." "I wanted to. For a second, I wanted her dead." "But you chose to wound. That's what makes you better than her. Or Bennett. Especially Bennett." Naomi made tea, something soothing with chamomile. We drank in silence, processing the violence that had invaded our sanctuary. "Is it over?" Leo asked. "This part is." "And Harper?" "Prison. Psychiatric treatment. Maybe both." "Will I have to testify?" "Probably." "Good. I want to. Want everyone to know what she became." "What we all became," I corrected. "Violence makes everyone ugly." "You didn't shoot anyone?" "No. I just poisoned, manipulated, and destroyed. Different weapon, same ugliness." Leo looked at me with eyes that had seen too much. "Was it worth it?" I thought about Harper in custody, Bennett in prison, our family rebuilt on blood and ashes. Ask me in 10 years. That night, none of us slept. We sat in the living room watching old cooking shows, pretending the world made sense. Leo curled between us on the couch, 16 going on 40, my son who'd shot his mother to save his father's pregnant girlfriend. This was our family now. Weird, violent, chosen. "I love you both," Leo said as dawn broke through the windows. "We love you too," Naomi replied, one hand on her belly, one on his shoulder. I said nothing, just held them both closer. Sometimes love was too big for words. Sometimes it could only be shown through actions like raising another man's son, or taking a bullet meant for someone else, or pulling a trigger to save the only family you had left. The news would call it tragedy. We called it Tuesday, and Wednesday we'd open for service like nothing had happened, because that's what you do in restaurants. You cook through the crisis, plate through the pain, and serve beauty even when your world is burning. Especially then. Multiple perspectives. 6 months later. The prosecutor. Harper Davis Martin looked smaller in the defendant's chair, orange jumpsuit hanging off her frame. But her eyes were clear for the first time in years. "Mrs. Martin, you're charged with attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and violation of a restraining order. How do you plead?" "Guilty, Your Honor, to all charges." The judge. In 30 years on the bench, I'd rarely seen someone own their crime so completely. No excuses, no justifications, just acknowledgement. "You understand you're facing 15 to 20 years? "I understand I tried to kill a pregnant woman out of jealousy and rage. Whatever sentence you give won't be enough." Leo Martin. Watching my mother, the woman who'd given birth to me, admit she'd tried to murder the woman carrying my sibling was surreal, but also freeing. No more lies, no more pretense. "Leo Martin," the prosecutor called. I testified for an hour. Every detail, every moment, the weight of the rifle, the sound of the shot, the look in her eyes when she realized I'd chosen them over her. "Do you regret shooting your mother?" the defense attorney asked. "I regret that she made it necessary." Bennett Rodriguez, via video from federal prison. They made me testify about our relationship. I took the fifth on most questions, but some required answers. "Mr. Rodriguez, did you record Mrs. Martin without her consent?" "Yes." "Did you threaten to release those recordings?" I plead the fifth. Did you have inappropriate contact with minors? I plead the fifth. My testimony helped Harper, made her look like a victim too, but I was nobody's victim. I was a predator who got caught. Naomi Wilson Martin. Yes, I'd married Elijah. Quick courthouse ceremony, Leo as witness. Made me legal finally. The baby made it necessary. Mrs. Wilson Martin, do you believe Harper Martin intended to kill you? Yes. Why? Because I had what she'd thrown away. A family, a future, a man who loved me. Do you forgive her? I thought about it, hand on my 7-month belly. I understand her. That's not the same as forgiveness. Elijah Martin. I was the last to testify. They asked about the marriage, the affair, the poisoning I'd never been charged for. Mr. Martin, do you believe your ex-wife deserves prison? I believe she deserves treatment. She's sick, not evil. She tried to kill your pregnant wife. She tried to kill the pain. Naomi was just in the way. That's a generous interpretation. I spent 16 years with Harper. She's capable of terrible things, but she's not a killer. If she was, we'd all be dead. The verdict. Guilty on all counts. 12 to 15 years, possibility of parole in 7. Mandatory psychiatric treatment. No contact with victims or their families. Harper didn't cry when they read it, just nodded, like she'd been expecting worse. Faith Anderson, Harper's former friend. I came to the sentencing. Had to see how it ended. Harper looked at me once, mouthed, "I'm sorry." I didn't respond. Some bridges once burned stayed ash. Riley Rodriguez, from Italy via written statement. Harper Davis Martin was a victim who became a perpetrator. Bennett destroyed her, but she chose to destroy others. May she find peace in punishment that she couldn't find in freedom. The sentencing. Mrs. Martin, the judge said, you've lost everything. Your family, your freedom, your future. But you've gained something clarity. Use these years to rebuild yourself, not for others, but for yourself. Yes, Your Honor. As they led her away, Harper turned one last time, not to Elijah or Leo, but to me, Naomi, stared at my belly, at the life growing there. Take care of them, she mouthed. I nodded. I would. I already was. Grant Miller, restaurant manager. The news coverage was brutal but brief. Restaurant love triangle ends in prison. Chef's ex-wife gets 15 years. Food critic sex scandal, the final chapter. But the restaurant thrived. Scandal sells, but good food sells better. We were booked solid for a year. Leo Martin, epilogue to the trial. That night, after the verdict, we cooked together. Dad, Naomi, and me. Made Harper's favorite dish, the one she'd always requested on birthdays. Coq au vin, with the sauce she'd taught me to make when I was 12. We ate it in silence, honoring who she'd been before she became who she was. Do you think she'll survive prison? I asked. She survived us, Dad said. Prison will be easier. 2 weeks later, Bennett Rodriguez was found dead in his cell. Official cause, suicide. Unofficial. Justice has many forms. Harper would serve 7 years, getting out early for good behavior. She'd write me letters I wouldn't read, send birthday cards I wouldn't open. But that night, after her sentencing, I grieved the mother I'd never really had and the one I'd had to shoot. The baby kicked for the first time during dessert. New life. Moving forward, while the past got locked away. What should we name her? Naomi asked. Hope, I suggested, because that's what we have now. Hope Martin, Dad said, testing it. Born from horror, raised in love. Perfect. Like the best dish's complicated origin, simple result. The trial was over. The verdict was in. Time to cook something new. Naomi's perspective. 6 months after trial. The new restaurant smelled like fresh paint and possibility. Wilson Martin, in gold letters on the window, both our names claiming this space we'd built from insurance money and borrowed hope. Push! Elijah called from the kitchen. I am pushing, I yelled back, trying to maneuver the new range into place. 7 months pregnant made everything harder. Leo appeared, took over. Let me, you supervise. I can still supervise, both Martin men said in unison. I supervised. Watched them install the kitchen where we'd cook our future. The old restaurant was gone sold to pay lawyers, start fresh. This was ours, untainted by Harper or Bennett. "The walk-in goes there," I directed. "And the prep station, we know," Elijah said, smiling. "You've only told us 50 times. 51 now." The contractors finished by noon. We stood in our kitchen really hours, legally and emotionally, and it was perfect. Smaller than the old place, but cleaner. No ghosts in these walls. "We need a menu," Leo said. "Already done." I pulled out my notebook, months of planning while the lawyers fought and the contractors built. 7 courses. Our story, but better. "No poison?" Elijah asked, half joking. "No poison. No revenge. Just food." We cooked that night, testing recipes. Leo had gotten into cordon bleu early admission, but deferred a year to help us launch. My son now in every way that mattered. The adoption papers were filed, waiting for a judge who'd probably wonder why a 24-year-old was adopting a 17-year-old. Because family is what you make it, Your Honor. "Behind!" Grant called, carrying boxes. He'd stayed loyal through everything, my sous chef now that I was head. "What's that?" "Mail from the old place." He set down the box. "Including this. A letter from Harper, from prison, addressed to all of us." "Burn it," Leo said immediately. "No," Elijah said. "We read it, once. Then we decide." I opened it, read aloud. "I know you won't forgive me. I don't forgive myself. But I wanted you to know I'm getting help. Real help. The therapy here is good. And I'm finally understanding who I became and why. Leo, you're the best thing I ever did, even if I did it wrong. Thank you for shooting me. It saved me from becoming a killer. Elijah, I'm sorry I couldn't be the wife you deserved. You loved me the only way you knew how. It should have been enough. Naomi, take care of them. You're what I should have been honest about your damage, brave enough to build anyway. I won't write again. This is goodbye. Harper. We stood in silence, holding her words. "Now we burn it," Leo said. "No," I said. "We keep it. Reminder of what we survived." "Why?" "Because forgetting trauma doesn't heal it. Acknowledging it does." I filed the letter with our other important papers, licenses, permits, adoption forms. History we couldn't erase but didn't have to repeat. Opening night was in a week. The reservations were full old customers, food critics, not Bennett's friends, curious strangers. They'd come for the scandal's epilogue, stay for the food. "We need a signature dish," Grant said. "Something that says who we are now." "I have an idea," Leo said, starting to prep. "Something I've been working on." He cooked for an hour, wouldn't let us taste until it was perfect. Finally, he plated it duck with a reduction that looked like blood, but tasted like redemption. "What's in this?" Elijah asked, eyes wide. "Love," Leo said simply, "and a little anger, but mostly love." It was perfect. Complex but clean, painful but nourishing. Us, in food form. "This is it," I said. "Our signature." "What do we call it?" "The last course," Elijah said. "Because it's the end of one story and the beginning of another." That night, we sat in our empty restaurant sharing the dish Leo had created. My family husband who'd chosen me, son who'd chosen us, baby choosing to grow despite everything. "Harper would hate this," Leo said suddenly. "Why?" "Because we're happy, actually happy, not performing it." He was right. This wasn't the desperate happiness of trying to save something broken. This was the quiet joy of building something new. "To Harper," Elijah raised his water glass. "May she find peace." "To Bennett," I added. "May he rot in hell." "To us," Leo finished. "May we never become them." We clinked glasses as the baby kicked, already fighting to join our strange family. Outside, the city moved on, unaware of our small victory. Inside, we planned menus and dreams and a future that tasted nothing like the past. The new kitchen was ready. So were we. Elijah's perspective. 1 year later, the Michelin inspector didn't announce herself, but I knew. 20 years in kitchens, you learn to spot them. The way she photographed each dish, took small bites, made notes between courses. "Table 7 wants to send compliments to the chef," the server said. "Tell her thank you. Desert's on us." "How did you know it was a her?" "I just know." The kitchen was running perfectly. Leo on sauces gap year before Paris was ending soon. Grant on proteins. Naomi expediting while bouncing 6-month-old Hope in a carrier on her back. Modern family, modern kitchen. "Order in," Naomi called. "2 tasting menus, 1 vegetarian modified." "Oui, chef." The inspector was on course 5 now, the Duck Leo's creation that had become our signature. I watched through the pass as she tasted it, saw her eyes close, pen moving across paper. "She likes it," Naomi whispered, Hope gurgling agreement. "She better. That sauce took 3 years of pain to perfect." The review would post in 6 months, but I already knew we'd get 3 stars. Not for the food alone, but for the story it told. Survival plated with precision. "Chef?" A new server, nervous. "There's someone at the back door, says she knows you." "If it's a vendor, it's not. She says her name is Harper." The kitchen stopped. Everyone turned to look at me. "That's impossible. She's in prison." "Early release," Grant said, checking his phone. "Good behavior. Time served. It's in the news." 3 years. She'd served 3 years of a 15-year sentence. "I'll handle it," I said. "Elijah," Naomi started. "Keep cooking, all of you." I went to the back door. Harper stood there, thin and gray-haired at 38. Prison had aged her decades. "I'm not supposed to be here," she said quickly. "Restraining order. I know. I needed to see it. What you built. You need to leave." "I will. I just wanted to say—" She stopped, looking past me into the kitchen. "Is that a baby?" "My daughter, Hope. She's beautiful." Harper smiled, sad and genuine. "Leo looks good, professional." "He is. Cordon bleu next month. And Naomi's running the pass. She's head chef. I'm executive. Partnership. Like we should have been." "We were never partners, Harper. That was the problem." She nodded, accepting. "I'm leaving town, tonight, California. Cousin has a catering company, needs help, simple stuff. Nothing like this." "Good. I wanted to apologize, again, properly. Apology accepted, now go." Can I ask one favor?" Every instinct said no, but she looked so broken, so finished. "What?" "Let me taste something, anything, from your new menu." I could have said no, should have. Instead, I went inside, plated a small portion of Leo's duck, our signature, our survival. I brought it to her at the door. She ate it standing in the alley, tears streaming. "It tastes like forgiveness," she whispered. "It tastes like moving on." She handed back the plate. "Tell Leo I'm proud of him. Tell Naomi the kitchen is in good hands. Tell Hope she's lucky." "I won't tell them anything. You don't exist for us anymore." "Fair." She turned to leave, stopped. "Elijah, be happy. Really happy. Not the performance we did." "I am." "Good." She walked away, disappeared into the city night. I'd never see her again. 2 years later, her obituary would run in the California papers: overdose, accidental or intentional, unknown. I wouldn't go to the funeral. Neither would Leo. But that night, I went back to my kitchen, my family, my life. The inspector was on dessert. Leo was teaching Hope to grab spoons. Naomi was plating with the precision of a surgeon. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Everything's perfect." And it was. Messy, complicated, built on graves, but perfect in its imperfection. The inspector left a business card with her check. Just her name and "Thank you for the story." 6 months later, the stars would come. 3 of them, shining like promises. But we already knew we'd earned them. Not through bribes or lies, but through surviving, rebuilding, choosing to cook when we could have burned. "Service," Naomi called, and we moved as one family, team, survivors, plating beauty from chaos. Harper's perspective. 2 years later, Los Angeles was supposed to be a fresh start, but I'd brought my ghosts with me. They lived in every kitchen I entered, every meal I cooked, every night I couldn't sleep. The catering job lasted 6 months before my past found me. "Aren't you the woman from that restaurant scandal?" Fired the next day. The second job lasted 3 months. The third, 2 weeks. Now I stood outside Wilson Martin in LA. They'd opened a second location because of course they had. Success following them like I never could. Through the window, I watched them work. Elijah, silver-haired now, but still precise. Naomi, confident and pregnant again. Leo, visiting from Paris, teaching a line cook something complex. And Hope, 2 years old, toddling through the kitchen like she owned it, which she did in a way. The princess of their kingdom built on my ruins. I could have gone in. The restraining order was only for New York. But what would I say? That I was homeless? That I'd spent the insurance money on lawyers and therapy that didn't work? That I dreamed about Bennett every night, his hands on my throat? Bennett, dead 3 years now, but still visiting me. Still claiming me. I had $20 left. Enough for a bottle of pills or a final meal. I chose the meal. Walked into a tiny taco stand, ordered 3 al pastor tacos. They tasted like Los Angeles Bright, false, trying too hard, but also comfort. Also kindness from the owner who saw I was crying and didn't charge me. You okay, senora? I will be. The pills were in my pocket, stolen from the last restaurant job, enough to sleep forever. I'd written letters to Leo explaining, to Elijah apologizing, to Naomi thanking her for being what I couldn't. But standing there, watching my old life thrive without me, I made a different choice. I dropped the letters in the trash, poured the pills down a storm drain, walked to the beach as the sun set. The ocean didn't care about my sins, didn't know I'd destroyed everything I'd touched. It just was vast, indifferent, eternal. A woman sat beside me on the sand, older, weathered, kind eyes. Rough day? Rough life. Want to talk about it? I ruined everything. My marriage, my son, myself. And now? Now I'm nothing. Nothing is just another word for possibility. She handed me a card. Sacred Heart Shelter. We help women restart. No questions. No judgment. I don't deserve. Deserving isn't the point. Surviving is. That night, I slept in a clean bed at the shelter. No drugs, no alcohol, just exhaustion. Dreamed of nothing for the first time in years. Morning came anyway. I started working in the shelter kitchen. Simple food soup, sandwiches, survival meals, nothing like the art Elijah created, but nourishing, necessary. 6 months later, I was running that kitchen, teaching other broken women to cook, to continue, to choose life even when death seemed kinder. I never contacted my old family again, but I kept tabs. Leo graduating from Cordon Bleu, opening his own place, Naomi winning James Beard Awards, Elijah expanding the empire, Hope growing beautiful and loved. They were better without me. That was my gift to them, my absence. 2 years after the beach, I was diagnosed with liver cancer. Cirrhosis from the drinking, metastasized before I knew it existed. 3 months to live, maybe 6. I used 3 of them to write a cookbook. Recipes from rock bottom, cooking through crisis. Simple dishes for desperate people. It would publish posthumously, proceeds to the shelter. The last recipe was for forgiveness soup. Ingredients, time, distance, acceptance that some things can't be fixed, only released. I died on a Tuesday, quietly, surrounded by women who'd also lost everything and chosen to continue anyway. The obituary was small. Harper Davis, 42, shelter cook and author. No mention of the scandal, the marriage, the son I'd birthed but couldn't mother. Leo didn't come to the funeral, neither did Elijah, but Naomi sent flowers, white orchids with a card. You were the ingredient that taught us to cook better. Rest now. I would have smiled at that if I could have, understanding that even poison has purpose in the right recipe. My last meal had been hospital jello and weak tea, but my last thought was of that duck Leo created, the one that tasted like love and anger mixed, the perfect dish, the one I'd inspired but could never eat again. The last course of a meal I'd started but couldn't finish. Elijah's Perspective, 2018. Sunday dinner had rules. No phones, no business, no ghosts, just family, food, and the future we'd built from ruins. Papa, watch! Hope stood on a chair, whisking eggs with the concentration of a surgeon. Careful, baby. I'm not a baby, I'm a chef. She was both. 2.5 years old, already knowing her way around a kitchen. Naomi's eyes, my stubbornness, her own fierce joy. Let me help, Leo offered, back from Paris for the holidays. 20 now, running his own bistro, engaged to a sommelier named Marie. I do it myself. She's got the Martin determination, Naomi laughed, 8 months pregnant with our son. We'd name him Grant after the friend who'd stood by us through everything. God help us all, I muttered, but smiled. The doorbell rang. Odd everyone we knew would use the back door. Leo went to answer, came back pale. "Dad? There's a lawyer, with documents." The lawyer was young, nervous. "Mr. Martin, I'm settling Harper Davis's estate." "Harper's dead?" "6 months ago. Cancer. She left instructions to wait before contacting you." I felt nothing, then everything, then nothing again. "What did she leave?" Naomi asked, practical even in shock. "This." He handed me a cookbook manuscript. "And a letter. For Leo." Leo took the letter, disappeared upstairs. We heard his door close, lock. I flipped through the manuscript. Simple recipes, hard stories. Harper's handwriting in the margins. "This saved me. Cook when you can't cry. Nourishment as resistance." "It's good," Naomi said, reading over my shoulder. "Really good. She always could write recipes, just couldn't follow them in life." The lawyer left. Leo stayed upstairs for an hour. When he came down, his eyes were red but clear. "She apologized," he said simply. "For everything. Said she was proud of who I became despite her." "You okay?" "Yeah, it's closure, I guess." We ate dinner quietly, Hope filling the silence with chatter about her eggs, her dolls, her plans to cook, everything in the whole world. After she was in bed, we sat in the living room, me, Naomi, Leo, and Marie, who'd arrived for dessert. The family we'd chosen and created. "Should we publish it?" Naomi asked, holding Harper's manuscript. "That's Leo's call." Leo thought, then nodded. "We publish it. Donate the proceeds to women's shelters. She'd want that." "How do you know?" "Because she finally learned that helping others was the only way to help herself." Later, Naomi and I lay in bed, her head on my chest, feeling the baby kick. "Do you regret any of it?" she asked. "Which part?" "Any part. All parts." I thought about Harper, dead at 42, Bennett, dead at 45, the wreckage we'd all created and crawled from. I regret the pain, the cruelty, the way we all broke each other. But it led us here, to this family, this life, this truth. So it was worth it? I don't know if trauma is ever worth it, but we made something from it. That has to count. She kissed me, soft and sure. "I love you." "I love you too." "All of you? Even the poisoner, the manipulator, the man who melted his wedding ring into a knife?" "Especially him. He fought for this family with everything he had. Everything dark he had. Sometimes darkness is what you need to see the light." Outside, New York hummed its eternal song. Inside, our house was quiet except for Hope's sleep breathing through the monitor and Grant the baby's movements in Naomi's belly. Tomorrow, Leo would fly back to Paris. We'd open both restaurants. Critics would come, customers would eat, life would continue its strange dance. But tonight, we were just a family who'd survived each other and chosen to keep loving anyway. I thought about Harper's last recipe forgiveness soup, wondered if she'd ever tasted it herself. Then I let her go. Finally, fully, forever. The last course was over. Time to plan the next meal. The James Beard Award was heavy in my hands. Best Chef, New York. Naomi had won hers 2 years ago. Leo had been nominated for Rising Star. "In your speech," the presenter said, "you thanked someone named Harper. Who was that?" I looked at my family in the audience, Naomi glowing, Hope in a tiny chef's coat, Grant Jr. asleep in Leo's arms, Marie beside him pregnant with their first. "My ex-wife," I said into the microphone. "She taught me that the best dishes come from the worst experiences, that you can transform anything, even poison, into nourishment if you cook it right." Where is she now? Everywhere, in every meal we serve, the ghost that taught us to be better. Later, at our celebration, Leo pulled me aside. "You've never talked about her publicly before." It was time. "Why now?" "Because Hope asked about her grandmother yesterday. I realized Harper's not just our ghost, she's part of our history. Denying her denies part of ourselves. The dark part. The human part." We clinked glasses, him with champagne, me with water. Alcoholism ran in families, and I decided to stop that inheritance. "To Harper," Leo said quietly. "To Harper," I agreed. "May she finally be at peace." "To us," Naomi added, joining us with Hope on her hip. "May we never need to be her." Mama, who's Harper? Hope asked. Someone who loved badly but taught us to love better. Oh, can she come to dinner? She's always at dinner, baby. In the food, in the lessons, in the spaces between courses. Hope accepted this with the easy magic of childhood. Okay, can I have ice cream now? We laughed, all of us together, and went to find ice cream for our daughter who'd never know hunger that wasn't quickly fed, love that wasn't freely given, or the price we'd paid for her perfect, imperfect life. The last course was truly over. The new meal stretched ahead, infinite and delicious. We were ready to cook it, together. The last course is ultimately a story about transformation, how the worst ingredients of human nature can be transformed into something nourishing if we're willing to do the hard work of cooking through the pain. Harper's ghost haunts every page not as villain, but as catalyst, the ingredient that forced everyone to become better versions of themselves. In the end, even poison has purpose if you know how to cook with it.